He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh, the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, September 18th, 2025. One of the largest industries in America, and I'm not just talking financially, even though it's up there financially as well, is media. It is expansive. Media isn't just books and podcasts, radio shows. Media is social. Media is Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and X, which is formerly known as Twitter. It's movies that we watch. It's music, and it's the lyrics of music. It is gigantic, and American media has a profound influence over the world. The phenomenon of hip-hop, which has been communicated via various media, music videos, those are media as well. And it is a global phenomenon. I'm not sure what year it was, maybe 15 or 16. I'm sure one of y'all will look it up. Hip hop became the most listened to, downloaded, and streamed form of music on planet Earth. It was within the last 10 years. It is a form of media. Media is something like a $1 trillion industry. It's central to the American way of life. Don't we define ourselves through the media? Don't we sometimes complain as African American folk how the media is treating us because they have the ability to shape reality? Political candidates, if they want to get their message out, they use media. They'll appear on our radio shows. They'll go on podcasts. They'll run television commercials. They'll run commercials on broadcast television. They'll run commercials on cable television. Even those digital ads that you see before you watch your favorite YouTube video. You might see a political commercial. If you have never seen one before, I assure you, as we move into the year 2026 and all of the midterm elections we're going to have, you're going to see a ton of political commercials because the media is a fantastic way to communicate, to broadcast a message to many, many people. And here's the thing about the media. It doesn't even have to be true. It can be false and still be legal and legitimate, especially when it comes to political satire. Political satire is as old, if not older, than democracy itself. Benjamin Franklin used to talk about the colonial British rule in a very mean way. the reason why the media has grown to $1 trillion industry that has global influence. Somebody somewhere is listening to an American podcast or an American song somewhere 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, somewhere on planet Earth. It is the entire planet. And the reason why I believe American media has been able to expand and become such an empire to the point where it can be dangerous. People can be influenced by what they see in the media and then go do really horrible things. A lot of us think it's the video games that's calling all of the shootings and the killings. Well, that's a form of media as well. So I'm trying to illustrate, because I don't think you can overstate how powerful media actually is. Some of you are tuning in to me right now, consuming this form of media. The reason why I think it has grown to be so overwhelming, and it's used and it's manipulated for a variety of purposes. You can go on YouTube, which is a form of social media, and learn how to cook a pot roast. A pot roast seems like a very intimidating piece of meat to cook, but go on YouTube, you can use media to learn. It is the only business endeavor that is protected by the U.S. Constitution. Media and communication and editorializing and journalism is protected speech. It is foundational. It is bedrock. It is what we call one of those preservative rights. Nothing can interfere with it. Now, there's very, very specific rules. You can't use your freedom of speech to cause a riot or to incite violence. I can't go into a movie theater with my shirt off and yell fire, because that's not a nice thing to do. Now, there's specific laws that deal with that, but for the most part, and the Supreme Court has upheld and protected the First Amendment right of freedom of speech. I use it every single day. I am critical of things and of public officials that I think are moving in the wrong direction, a counterproductive direction that can do more harm than good. And it's legal, it's legitimate, and it is protected. Let me pause that point for just a moment. There will be a number of dates that will live in infamy, like when FDR said December 7th, 1941 is a date that will live in infamy. He was right. Pearl Harbor was a very big deal. There are other dates, I believe, that will live in infamy, not because we were attacked by a foreign adversary. September 11th, of course, would be another one of those dates that lives in infamy. We have a number of dates that will live in infamy in this current era of American politics, and one of those dates, I believe, is going to be September 16th. We saw something take place in this nation that I never thought that I would see. I'm not particularly a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not really into the late night shows. I'm not. They're boring. They don't really trip my trigger. Even when they do tackle political subject matter, they do so with a level of caution that just doesn't fascinate me, because I can go a lot further than a Jimmy Fallon. And here's the thing with Jimmy Fallon. I think he sucks. His monologues are terrible. He's a talented dude. Like, he does good impressions. He's a great singer, performer. He was good on Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Fallon, doing sketch comedy, but he's not very articulate. So I don't like the fella. I wasn't really a fan of Jay Leno either. Jay Leno, I got distracted by the shape of his head. But he was on for a long time. Jay Leno was 30 years, and prior to him, I think Johnny Carson was on for 30 years. But I've never really been a fan of the late night shows. Another fella is Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers, I think he also was affiliated with Saturday Night Live some time ago. Just not a fan of their shows. Jimmy Kimmel has been canceled. ABC and the affiliates that own ABC networks around the nation pulled Jimmy Kimmel. He is currently unemployed because of what he said about Charlie Kirk. What he said and the president's response in an interview that the president was giving, Jimmy Kimmel talked about the president's response. And I watched this clip. It's about a minute long. We're going to play it for you in a little while, of what Jimmy Kimmel said about President Trump in response to the Charlie Kirk killing was benign. I have said far, far worse, far more often. There's an FCC director who has a very significant job because the Federal Communications Commission essentially polices public broadcast airwaves. And Jimmy Kimmel broadcasted publicly, albeit later at night. It should be noted that late night television has more leeway in what they can say versus daytime radio, daytime television, etc. And I replayed over and over again what Jimmy Kimmel said that got him fired. And I said, there is another date that's going to live in infamy. It is a date in which freedom of speech is no longer respected by the executive branch of the federal government. Now it gets a little bit deeper than that. I want to make sure that I unpack this and demystify this, because we are now living in an era in America I never thought would happen. Do you know how many people and broadcasters and journalists said horrible things about Barack Obama publicly on their airwaves that were controlled by the Federal Communications Commission, in which Barack Obama had the ability to appoint someone to oversee? Barack Obama never went after a media company. He never went after a late night talk show host. That's a part of it. This goes back to ancient Rome, political satire, and making fun of our leaders and using humor to do so, because what that does is it gets more people to pay attention to what is happening publicly. The Supreme Court has been almost like completely hands off. Like, you can say whatever you want about public officials, and it doesn't even have to be true because you are not stating anything specific about a private person. Once you become a public official, it's essentially fair game. And people that run for office and people that get elected, they know that. It's a part of it. Jimmy Kimmel lost his job. And also, there is a merger that is afoot where Nexstar is the name of the company, and they are trying to become the largest local television station owner in America. The Federal Communications Commission is going to have to approve this merger. ABC is a part of it. The federal government, controlled by Donald Trump, would get in the way of this $6.2 billion merger if Jimmy Kimmel was still on the air, and Jimmy Kimmel just happened to say something that Donald Trump didn't like. Jimmy Kimmel is no longer able to broadcast on ABC. This is a great tragedy. I also find it interesting that the president mentioned Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon as the next ones to go. There was somebody else he got somebody else fired too. Didn't somebody else, another late night host, lose their gig?
My guy Stephen Colbert.
Stephen Colbert, that's right. I need you to understand what Donald Trump is doing. He is criticizing individuals. More than criticizing them, he is taking the livelihood away from people who were using 2,000-year-old political satire that even the ancient Greeks respected. Now, if you say something the president does not like, you will lose your job. This is a point in American history in which I don't know how we continue with a constitutional republic if the First Amendment is no longer respected. I'm going to take a break, come back. We're going to play for you the video of what Jimmy Kimmel said. Now, hell, I hope I don't get trumped by playing the video. I'm playing. Damn. I ain't scared of Trump. Come get me. That was a stupid thing to say because he could. But I'm not going to cower in fear of getting fired. I'm going to say what I've been saying the way I've been saying it. I'm on 101.7 The Truth. I have to be honest. And if I feel the need to curtail my honesty in fear of keeping my job, then I'm not fit to be in front of you every morning from 9 until 12. So we're going to take a break, come back, go to our YouTube, 1017 The Truth, search it on YouTube. We're going to play the video of what Jimmy Kimmel said. And I want to ask you all, do you think that what Jimmy Kimmel said in response to an interview that Donald Trump was giving, do you think that that was sufficient grounds to terminate him? You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 FM. I'll be right back.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 1017 The Truth's Kyle Wallace, and I am Milwaukee. I take great pride in being a 414 boy and representing the city that I love. The great memories I have of going to Northtown Cinema to see movies with family and friends, to going to Capitol Court to see the Black Santa Claus, this city has helped shape me into the man that I am today, and I pledge to utilize my voice as a way to advocate for you in our community. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Talk to these people in terms of how do I register for this program despite my reservations and my previous experiences of rejection?
Yes, I tell anybody and everybody that you can buy a house. It may take somebody longer than the other person, depending on what your circumstances is with your credit and income and affordability, but you can purchase a house. The first step would be is to register for our program. You can come to our office, 7830 West Burleigh Street, or you can give us a call at 414-461-6330, or just go onto our website, hri-wi.org. Register for the first-time home buyer education workshop. That's going to be your first step to home ownership. During that class, you're going to learn everything that you need to know from A to Z, how to get approved for a house, how to look for a house and put an accepted offer, and how to close on a home.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
We're going to get the clip ready for you. It's Jimmy Kimmel saying something that would be like a mild statement for most of us. I do want to get your thoughts and opinions on it because there's going to be more of this coming, and I have a feeling that these big broadcast networks are going to now fear their satirical comics that they have on there. Andrew, are we ready? All right, here we go. Let's see what Jimmy Kimmel said. Well, I see Jimmy Kimmel, but I cannot hear.
Than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
That was it. They asked Donald Trump, how are you holding up, Mr. President, after the loss of your friend, which apparently was a very big deal for the MAGA right, because Donald Trump ordered the flags to be flown at the half staff. He said, look, We're constructing the White House ballroom. Oh, no, I'm fine. No, don't worry, I'm good. Look at the White House ballroom being constructed. For Jimmy Kimmel to just use the president's words in his response to what most of America thought was a pretty significant national tragedy, somebody getting assassinated for their political beliefs, and Donald Trump sidestepped it. Like that, ladies and gentlemen, is what editorials are supposed to do, what comics are supposed to do, what late night entertainment is supposed to do. There was nothing particularly damning about what Jimmy Kimmel said. And quite honestly, I think Jimmy Kimmel was spot on. That is how a 4-year-old mourns the loss of a goldfish. Like, oh, no big deal. Let me just go and play with my other toys and look over here because I'm distracted. That's all it takes. Think about all of the other people and the entities and the other media that could potentially be in jeopardy. I would imagine that a great number of African-American content creators, whether they be YouTube, broadcast journalists, writers, podcasters, musicians that write lyrics, that are critical of Donald Trump. You know, a lot of African-Americans are very critical of Donald Trump, and we have every damn right to be, and we should be. We have to be. And it's protected speech where we can be critical of Donald Trump. He is a public figure. He is the president of the United States. We are the ones that are impacted by his decisions. So we have the right, protected by the Constitution. The very First Amendment protects our speech. The next amendment is guns. So imagine that. First, your speech is protected. Then they said, better make guns legal too, because people are going to be using all sorts of speech. But the very First Amendment is protecting our speech. You know how many African-American creators are now in jeopardy? And I think that this has been done. Jimmy Kimmel was fired for something that he's probably said worse. We've all said worse about Donald Trump. We've all posted worse about Donald Trump. Even going back to his first term, I'm sure we've said worse. Worse has been posted about the president and his policy pronouncements and his executive orders and his impeachments going back since he entered the political arena. They're sending a message. Not only will you be canceled if your company wants to merge with another to where the federal government will have to approve it, this administration may get in the way of that. This is problematic because Kennedy said this. He said the American media is the only industry that's protected by the Constitution. And now they are trying to curtail that. And I'm saying that the administration isn't trying to curtail that. They're doing a very, very good job of it. But I also find it fascinating because I always want to find these bits of information that prove the point that Donald Trump is a racist. He has not called out anybody black yet. Because I think that ours is coming differently. And I have some information that will fortify how I think African Americans are going to pay. Because, you know, the vast majority of us did not vote for him. So he has to have something coming for us. It's going to be a bunch of little small things. It's going to be, you know, trying to get voter data. It's going to be maybe some interference with elections. Of course, there's going to be some misinformation about African Americans. Yes, it's going to be some doubling down on heavy policing and sending the military into African American democratic cities. But I think what is coming for us is much larger. But I find it interesting that Stephen Colbert, now Jimmy Kimmel, and then Jimmy Fallon has been called out, and also Seth Meyers has been called out. And I guarantee you their shows are going to get canceled. The FCC has too much power and control to regulate those broadcast networks. And the networks are like, look, we may lose billions of dollars in revenue if we're not doing right by the president. Now, and I know that those guys are probably pretty big. Seth Meyers is probably pretty big. Jimmy Fallon is probably pretty big. But in the grand scheme of how these networks may be under the scrutiny of this president, they may say, ain't nobody too big to get fired. Can you imagine what media will sound like if it's only people who are sycophantic to Donald Trump? We will be deeply in the throes of an authoritarian government where all media has to praise him. Like, that's communist Russia stuff. I'm very, very concerned about this. I'm concerned about all of you as well. Some of you may lose your jobs because of what you say. I already had a situation here. I don't want to get into too much details, but I learned recently that when I express myself on my personal social media, that my employer can have an issue with that. And I'm over here thinking, if I allow you to follow me on social media, be happy you got the privilege. Don't say nothing about what you see. If you don't like it, bye. So now I had to go and scrub every damn body I work with. Somebody over here snitching. You ain't touching my speech. Now, I remedied the problem now. But I'm blown away by this. The amount of things that were said about Barack Obama didn't even think. In fact, he addressed his critics. When they said that Barack Obama wasn't a citizen, dude went and pulled out his birth certificate. He addressed his critics head on. Donald Trump wants to stifle his critics. Now, I am concerned about African-American content creators because we oftentimes make our living not only by informing our community, the community at large we inform, but especially our people, but we do so being very critical of Donald Trump. But there's something unusual here because, to the best of my knowledge, no African-American hosts or personalities that have been more critical of him than Jimmy Fallon. That was so weak. The bit was actually funny because they used Donald Trump's words to show his lack of remorse and empathy. On the last few shows, I have been trying to point out things that are objectively true, not subjective, like how I feel about something, but just things that any regular, normal person could also notice. Donald Trump doesn't have any empathy. He doesn't go to disaster sites and hug the American people that were harmed. He doesn't go visit, where there was a hurricane or a tornado when he tours the area and say, oh, I'm so sorry, everybody, we're going to get some FEMA in here. Every other president has done that. Barack Obama went to the Deep South where he didn't get a single vote, go to some of these small towns and embrace the people. Joe Biden did it. George W. Bush did it. You guys remember George W. Bush talking to the people in New York and the firefighters saying, hey, you know what? We're going to respond to this. We're not going to let these terrorists get away with this, and just like hugging people and shaking people's hands. Donald Trump has no empathy. And I think we, as Americans, we need a president that has empathy because American life, as easy as some may think it is, it's really tough because we're an incredibly divided society, and the divisions that exist in this country prevent us from moving forward together in unison. We also are a country that has a history of a civil war in the last 160 years, so we still have not really, in my opinion, thoroughly recovered from that. So if we have a president that is unable to express empathy, we need to be able to talk about that and call that out because that can have long-lasting, reverberating impacts on how we as Americans interact with one another. At the very least, a president should be able to bring folks together on non-political issues, saying like, hey, there is a horrible thing that happened. Let's all come together and pray together and let's all mourn the loss of this, that, and the other. He has no ability to do that. But by calling out the fact that this man has no empathy, this is a man that I barely even see kiss his wife. Where's Melania? Anybody seen her? She's not around. I ain't seen Melania. I bet Melania got a black boyfriend. I can probably get fired for that. But I've always thought that she's got a big, ex-NFL player, like a gigantic big black boyfriend named Gerald. Gerald, will you please come visit Melania? I think Melania talks about herself in first person. I could see her. Melania is hungry. Melania wants to go shopping. Melania is tired of you, the Donald. I'm shocked, ladies and gentlemen. I really am. And I didn't think that anything could shock me. And here's the other part that I want us to be mindful of. I'm going to leave you with this and I'm going to take a break. That's not a real picture, is it, Andrew? Is that? She's covering her face.
That's the most recent picture from Mar-a-Lago.
She doesn't even want to be seen. Hang on. Is this her meeting with, is that Camilla and the king?
Yes,
That's
sir.
The king and queen of England. And Melania is wearing a hat over her head that's covering her eye. She looks like the Grim Reaper. Oh, how embarrassing. Now, let me be clear. I am not married. I never have been. But if I was, and I happen to be president of the United States, I don't know what is more unlikely, me getting married or me being president. But if my wife and I are going to England to visit the king and the Queen of England. I need y'all to see this damn picture. I'd have to have a conversation with my wife. I'd be like, look here now. Okay, imagine this. Imagine Donald and Melania are fighting. Y'all know how it is. Okay? They're riding over there in the presidential motorcade. Melania is mad at Donald for whatever reason. Maybe Donald found out about Gerald, Melania's gigantic black boyfriend. So they're not happy. But y'all know how it is. If you're with your partner, your spouse, your significant other, and y'all are fighting, but you got to make a public appearance, here's what you do. You say, look, we ain't going to act up. We're going to visit the royals now. Okay, we're gonna look like we're a couple. We're going to keep it together until the event is over, and then we're going to fight on the way home, and we're going to fight at home. But while we're there in the presence of the damn king and the queen of England, we're going to look like a happy couple, right? And then you grab her hand and you give it a little shake. Okay, right? Okay, then. All right, we're going to fight on the way home. The whole way. But when we meet with the king and the queen, look alive. Stand next to me. Y'all have had these conversations, but I know you have. You ever fought with your significant other on your way to like a Christmas party at your parents' house, and neither one of you want to go, and you're fighting about God knows what, somebody didn't do the laundry or whoever, maybe got caught cheating, I don't know, none of my business, and you say, look, we got to keep it together while we're in front of these damn people. Now, that's rule number one. Don't embarrass me. Okay, I'm going to take a break, come back, and talk to Alan on the other side. Alan, a little birdie put some information in my ear yesterday, Alan, about what you did when you went to City Hall. Now, Alan called us yesterday and said that he was going to stop by because he was in the neighborhood because he had some business to attend to at City Hall. A totally separate human being that did not hear my show yesterday called me with some information about what Alan did when he was at City Hall. So, Alan, I hope that you are willing to discuss what you did. I don't like what you did. You better tell us. I'll snitch. I ain't got nothing to lose at this point. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Literally one call, that's all.
I made one call and that's all, worry-free.
One call, that's all. It worked.
Just one call and that's all.
They will do what they say they're going to do. One call and that's all.
One call, that's all means security.
It's literally one call, that's all.
It's a phrase we'll never forget.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Here is Sherwin Hughes with his truth.
You ever notice how the phrase 9 to 5 sounds just so old school? That's because in 2025, the 9 to 5 is as outdated as a rotary phone. Let's be real. The world has changed, and the way we work has changed with it. The gig economy is booming. Folks are making money on their own terms, driving Ubers, delivering DoorDash, freelancing, and side hustling their way to the bag. And then there's the work-from-home revolution. People are clocking in from their kitchen tables, their favorite coffee shops, or even the beach. Laptops open, pajamas on, productivity up. The virtual office is now the new corner office, and the only commute is from the bed to the desk. Let's not forget about the digital nomads, those bold souls who turn the world into their workplace. They're sending emails from Bali, closing deals in Barcelona, and living life on their own schedule. No time clock, no cubicle, just Wi-Fi and a dream. And 21st century entrepreneurship, well, it's a whole new game. You can launch a business from your phone, build a brand on Instagram, and make more in a week than some folks do in a month without even punching a clock. So who's still working that old 9-to-5 job? People who are resistant to change or maybe just can't adapt. The future belongs to the flexible, the creative, the hustlers who know how to make technology work for them. The 9-to-5, well, that's a museum piece. The real action is happening outside the box, where freedom and opportunity are just a click away.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
ABC announced on Wednesday evening that it has suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely, following backlash over comments host Jimmy Kimmel made about the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The decision came hours after FCC Chairman Brendan Carr publicly criticized Kimmel's remarks and suggested regulatory consequences. The move also coincides with Nexstar Media Group's pending $6.2 billion merger with Tenga, which is subject to FCC approval, raising questions about whether corporate and regulatory pressures influence the network's response. So here's what's going to happen. Tegna. Thank you, Andrew, for that. Somebody's got to sue because the whole thing is wholly constitutional. Like, you can't do that kind of weird, unconstitutional, violating the First Amendment, pay for play. Like, oh, Jimmy Kimmel said something bad about the president, fire him and we'll allow your $6.2 billion merger to go through. So somebody's going to have to file a lawsuit somewhere. Hopefully Jimmy Kimmel does. Him versus the United States, or him versus ABC, or him versus Tegna, whatever the case may be. Now, I'm wondering what these courts are going to do. So this will be a watershed moment. And I don't know what happens. I don't know how it plays out, but this is going to be one of those cases that they're going to be teaching in law schools. It's going to be something that is going to re-examine the power and the strength of the First Amendment during the era of Donald Trump. The Supreme Court has an ability to say, you know what, yeah, it's totally legal and constitutional if the president doesn't want people on public airwaves that are regulated by his administration saying negative things about him, because it could be bad for the country, it could be dangerous, it could incite another assassination attempt, then yeah, that's legitimate and that's constitutional. If the Supreme Court upholds the firing of Jimmy Kimmel and policing his politically satirical speech, then we are doomed. There's no more free speech anywhere. I know a lot of you use free speech and you say, sure, when I can say whatever I want. You say it in the chat, or you may text us a bunch of things. Well, if that's the case, if Donald Trump's Supreme Court says, freedom of speech is no longer constitutional, well, I'll just have some of y'all arrested then. Let's have you arrested if you say something bad about you. Better say nice stuff about me. Tell me I'm pretty. Andrew, put a poll up right now on the YouTube. Is Sherwin pretty? Yes or yes? Don't give anybody. If somebody says no, they're done. I'm going to have them arrested. Let's talk to Alan. You're on 101.7 The Truth. Well, how was your day yesterday, Alan? You had a busy day at the City Hall.
Yeah, I did. It went pretty smooth, to be honest with you. It's something that I'd like to know. Actually, let me calm down here. We might be on TV later today. I think the networks are going to swing by and do an interview of a couple of us, some of the neighborhood people and myself.
Can you, since you might be on local television?
Yeah, we're doing a. I filed a formal docket and everything. Notice of recall for our first district alderwoman, Andrea Pratt.
So you are attempting to recall the daughter of a former mayor, former acting county executive, former council.
First black mayor, everything else.
Sure.
Yes, we are.
So his daughter, Andrea Pratt, is your alderwoman, African-American woman, and you are wanting to recall her. Can you tell people why?
It's pretty convoluted. It involves, this goes back, you've heard me talk about it a little bit, but this goes back to when we had that alderman named Ashanti Hamilton. And there's an empty school near us, And we were not notified about this. Nobody was notified about the intent or what they were going to do.
And what year was
aware,
this? So when were you not notified?
This goes back. This has been going on for a long time.
Give me a year.
2015 it started.
Okay.
2015 it started with I believe Will Allen Growing Power putting up that farm over there.
Okay.
With no notification.
All right.
So this goes on, went on, and then Rocket Ship School got involved, and that would be okay because this is a school building, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the grants stop at Sherman, which is kind of weird. But they stop right there, the district where the area where the grants could have covered, and then they were trying to buy. There's a school over off of 60th down there, where I think they got a piece of that, but it was not quite. They couldn't get to where they wanted to go here, so the building was sitting empty again.
Okay.
Then 2019, I got a knock on my door. One of my neighbors knocked on my door on I believe it was a Tuesday evening. And I had just come home from work. I was still dressed and everything. And an older woman, African-American, knocked on my door and said, Alan, can you help us? We need your help. And I said, what do you mean? And I kind of thought she was talking maybe about, some of the stuff that happens around where we live. Tell the guys to leave her alone or let her come in, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she said, no, they're rezoning. This was the first time I heard of that. So there was no notice or anything about this. The school was being rezoned for housing, right? Without telling anyone.
And when that happened, Alan, when they reschooled or rezoned the school for housing, was Ashanti still the alderman?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. I'm trying to get to this. The whole thing.
Alan, you can't get. You only got 2 minutes. So you got to be able to get to the recall.
You should interview us. You should put us on the radio. Call me.
Depending upon how you do right now determines if I talk to you later. You're gonna have to condense it now.
In 2019, Alderman Hamilton was still our alderman. In 2019, they had this hearing that nobody knew about.
Okay,
we
fair
went.
Enough. Why are you recalling Andrea Pratt right now in 2025?
Why? Because she has knowledge of all of this and has refused to work or even sit down with any of us and try to just to stop this process and look at some of the irregularities that have happened. This is not coincidence.
So you don't want housing to be where it was zoned for a school.
It doesn't have to do with the housing. It has to do with the way they went about doing it. They've ignored these white guys, these white developers have ignored the wishes, the will, and they've completely ignored the due process of an entire neighborhood of black people. That's where I'm at with this. I'm helping my neighbors. It has nothing to do with nothing else.
Almost died again.
People have been denied
so
their
you're
rights.
recalling the black alderwoman because white developers
who's ignoring the rights of black constituents? Yes. Pretty deep.
Oh, Alan, hang on.
We're right about this. We'll see.
Who's going to run?
I'm going to be canvassing. Huh?
Who's going to run? Are you going to run for alder? Because once you
I can't run. I don't know who's going to. It doesn't even matter who runs. Somebody will run. Maybe nobody will run. Maybe these people will come to their senses and sit down and revisit this thing legally.
Do you know
that
how
might
many
happen.
signatures?
Do
you know how many signatures that you need to get?
2,600. I think I need 2,647, 2,661, something like 71.
So 25% of the number of votes.
Yeah, exactly. They gave me the number.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Alan.
I know what I got to get. I've already got close to 60 just yesterday.
You think you're going to get the signatures?
Honestly, probably not. Can I come close? Probably. Why I'm doing this, though, I just want to bring this. They're playing this game a certain way. So, politics.
Who's backing you at City Hall, Alan? Who encouraged you to do this?
Who's backing me?
Yeah, who is supporting you at City Hall?
Stop. Nobody can stop me.
No. I'm not asking you who's stopping you. Who is encouraging you? Who is supporting you? Who told you this might be a good idea that is in City Hall right now? Did anybody say go ahead and recall?
I don't think anybody told me because they're all. If this comes out the way that we believe, this is not just me. Okay.
Okay. But you don't have any insiders giving you information. You don't have anybody encouraging you, saying that you should recall her. You haven't had a conversation.
I don't have nobody telling me I should. I'm not going to use certain. I'm not. I've spoken to people.
I know. I want you to tell me who you've spoken to. I know who you talked to.
No, not unless. We don't have time right now to go.
All right, well, Alan, I got to take a commercial break though, right now.
All right, but this is real. It's real. We might be on the news. So pay attention. I'll be out canvassing around here, though. I'm asking right now to all these if it's okay if I stand out here a couple times a week.
Good luck with that. Okay, then. All right. I'm going to take a break because I don't know what. Why is he yelling at me? And I know who was putting him up to this. I just don't know if I want to out that person yet because there'll be some consequences. And, The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
Be careful of the decisions that you make and the company that you keep, because that is going to determine a certain consequence. So you don't have to wait to go to prison, or you don't have to wait to figure it out what the consequences may be. All you got to do is look at your decision making and who you allow in your space. If they making wild decisions, wild things gonna happen. But you don't get to choose what wild things are gonna happen.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home. But when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Watching them work from idea to installation gives you the ability to see firsthand the care taken to ensure the Pella experience is complete. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 9/30/2025. School's back in session. Kids have their backpacks, school supplies lows. But are you ready as a parent? Families are the single most important factor in a child's academic success. This year, get to know your child's teachers. Stay engaged with their learning. Don't be shy about asking questions along the way. Because as a parent, you are your child's first and most important teacher. Learn more about how City Forward Collective is helping families, students, and schools thrive at cityforwardcollective.org.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialist and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
Fall in Milwaukee, where the air is crisp, the drinks are cold, and the good times are just heating up. Stroll Milwaukee's lakefront and explore its parks as they burst into a kaleidoscope of golds, ambers, and reds. Raise a glass at a beer garden that feels like a neighborhood block party, Milwaukee style. And just as the temps fall, Brewers baseball is turning up the heat. October dreams are made right here. This season, every color, every cheer, every sip, it all comes together in Milwaukee. Craft your perfect getaway at visitmilwaukee.org.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Couple of things we're going to unpack. First, the poll. Go to YouTube, search 1017 The Truth. Of course, hit subscribe while you're there. And then you can participate in a poll. It's a very important poll. It's very scientific. We're going to use the data to, make some grand prognostication about health and vaccines. And we're probably going to get a Nobel Peace Prize for this poll. It's a very important poll. I need you to go to YouTube to vote in it. And the question on the poll is Sherwin pretty? I'm happy to report that 75% of you have said yes, and the other 25% have also said yes. So it looks like we're... So wait a minute. So why the disparity in yeses? 75% of you, the top yes, 75%, the bottom yes, 25%. Miles said, yes, Sherwin, you are handsome. Thank you, fella. Thank you, sir. You don't have a choice. It's the world that you live in. You don't get a choice anymore. You got to say what I like. I only want complimentary things. Don't criticize me. Hey, Good Karma Brands, you're going to have to stop criticizing me because I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't do it. I don't want to hear anything negative about me. I only want to hear wonderful things. How wonderful I am, how nice I am, how I do my radio shows with laser-like precision. My preparation is spot on. That's all I want to hear. I don't know if I need to hear from Allen again, so Allen is going to need 2,600 signatures, some specific number, but if you are involved in recalling an elected official, sometimes the signatures may get thrown out, they're illegible, could be from people from outside the district. So the first order of business is he is not going to get the necessary signatures, number one. Number two, to have a recall for an issue that should have been litigated and adjudicated with a previous alderperson, and then holding what happened, because the path was already charted with what they're going to do with that land near like 41st and Silver Spring. That's the area that he is referring to. So we have a housing problem in the city of Milwaukee. We have a housing shortage, and the mayor also wants to grow the city to 1 million people, which I also think is a pretty ambitious goal. But in order to do that, we need more new construction. We need more housing. And if that school is vacant, and if that land is not collecting any property taxes, it very much is in the city's best interest. And the city can use eminent domain to develop that land to not only build single-family housing or rental housing, it also can grow the tax base, which gives us more money for resources we need like police, fire, education, etc. So if the residents had a problem with the process, that should have been litigated with a previous alderperson. I'd imagine a lot of deals have been signed, a lot of contracts have been signed, so the process has continued to move forward to hold the current alderperson responsible for something that should have been litigated, it sounds like 10 years ago. While I can understand the concern and the disappointment maybe of the residents because they were not informed, I don't know if Andrea Pratt is the one responsible, and the people that voted for her, because if I'm not mistaken, she won by a big old margin. I don't know if people are going to see this recall as one that is productive because you're trying to hold the current elected official responsible for a process that started a decade ago. If I'm not mistaken, Andrea Pratt was just elected in 2024, maybe last year. Or certainly reelected in 2024. Who was the alderperson before her? Because there was somebody after Ashanti, right? Because Ashanti went to go work for the Office of Violence Prevention. No, I don't. What the hell? Somebody I don't want to look this up because I don't feel like it. Unless you want to look it up, Andrew. No, she must have been alderperson for longer than that. She was reelected in 2024, but when Ashanti left, that forced a special election. I'm assuming, I don't even know what year. 2023, she got elected. Then reelected in 2024, I'm assuming, to a full 4-year term. Okay, that's fine. All right. She's not responsible for Allen being angry at the process. So if you're going to do a recall, you need a candidate because recalling someone and you don't have a candidate to run against the person. So all recall does is says, hey, everybody, enough signatures were turned in by this particular committee to force an election. But if there's no person to run, then there'll be an election, which we're going to pay for as taxpayers. You got to print ballots. You got to get the voting machines all ready. You got to get them all primed. You got to get them all programmed. You got to hire poll workers. It's a real election. But if Andrea Pratt is the only name on the ballot, what the hell sense does that make? So the recall is going to fail dramatically. And I'm going to feel bad for Allen because anything that he's going to want and need from his alderperson from this point forward, he simply ain't going to get. And I don't blame Andrea for not answering any of his damn phone calls because if this recall comes to fruition, which it won't because he won't get the signatures, and they force an election and there's no candidate to run against her, if it could be him, he won't win. Then if Andrea Pratt, of course, is victorious, which she will be, then if Allen needs constituent services, Andrew should hang up on him every single time that he calls, because what's he going to do? Recall her? Unbelievable. This is a white guy. He's a Trumper, too. He's like, oh, these white developers are not respecting the black community. That's so crazy.
He's a white knight, Sherwin.
And we need more white knights. Go to YouTube and vote in the poll. The poll is a very important question that we're asking you. Go vote. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Come in with straight truth.
Everything got a message. I'll say this. Y'all can't be tired if y'all still messing with the negative energy. Every day I get on and say, the power of the tongue. Your impulsive negative thoughts, reacting, and these kids watching you reacting all wild and crazy. The programming you watching on TV, the music. And now, like Security Mike said, it's popular to pop somebody. It's popular now. And these kids coming back, they coming back to somebody's house. They coming to eat a meal at somebody's house. They hanging out with somebody in the neighborhood who got a house, who paying the rent. They hanging out with you. They may be your relative. They may be your buddy. That social acceptance is there. Understand what I'm saying? So when we really tired, we gonna cut it off. We gonna stop it.
Tune in to all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows all day, every day by downloading the Truth app.
How is it possible for somebody to be found guilty of something and serve no jail time? How is it possible that someone can get a first offense misdemeanor when it comes to marijuana here in the state of Wisconsin and can face up to 6 months in jail, but 2 men who are convicted of murder get probation? This is not what justice is about. Why does this keep happening, Truth Nation? And why does it always seem like black people die and we don't get the justice that we deserve? How should we react to this? If you commit a crime, you must do the time. If you take somebody's life, you have to pay the cost. I don't care that it was an accident, because it does not make sense to me how someone can be murdered and somehow they get no time. Even if you accidentally kill somebody, you are still a murderer, especially when you plead guilty to felony murder. Marijuana will get you more time in jail than killing somebody, especially when it comes to a black man here in America, unfortunately.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and the Truth app.
Are you looking for ways to give back to your local community? Use volunteerwisconsin.org to find opportunities to volunteer your time with organizations making a difference near you. As we celebrate United Ways Month, we're also celebrating you. Visit volunteerwisconsin.org or get in touch with your local United Way or Volunteer Center to find out more about local opportunities to get involved. Volunteerwisconsin.org is hosted by United Way of Wisconsin and Serve Wisconsin. Paid for by United Way of Wisconsin.
Did you forget the first day of school is this week and little Nancy still needs her name embroidered on her backpack? Or the company shirts are due now, not next week? Maybe the boss just declared Steve's retirement party is today and the shirts are mandatory? Whatever the rush. Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more in Mequon has got you covered. With fast turnarounds, no minimums, eco-friendly printing, and high-quality custom apparel, Big Frog brings your custom ideas to life fast. Stop by Big Frog in Mequon or visit bigfrog.com/Mequon. Big Frog Custom T-shirts and more, where your ideas leap to life.
Breaking news, weather, entertainment, and sports. We have it all here. This is 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Talking about the firing of Jimmy Kimmel because he made a joke. I think the entire joke from start to finish is probably about a minute and some change long. And he basically was pointing out the fact that when a reporter asked Donald Trump how he felt, how he was holding up after the killing of his friend Charlie Kirk, Trump was like, oh, no, I'm fine. But look, we're building a ballroom in the White House. He deflected. And Jimmy Kimmel used that in a comedy bit and compared Donald Trump's response to how a 4-year-old child grieves after losing a goldfish. And I thought it was spot on and it was funny. And that's protected speech. And it falls into the realm of political humor and political satire, which goes back to a period of time that is older than the American democracy. And we know that political satire was used during the founding of America. Folks like Ben Franklin even published articles that were very critical in a humorous way of British colonial rule, and a lot of that stuff led to the American Revolution. And the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court in countless cases has upheld freedom of speech. There's a guy named Larry Flint. He's a magazine publisher. I believe he has since passed away. The magazine that he published and the time that he published it, I believe in the early 1970s, America was a little bit more socially conservative when it came to the obscene. And he published a magazine that was, let's just say, an exacerbated version of Playboy magazine. And Playboy magazine over the decades has faced an awful lot of scrutiny because of its featuring of gratuitous nudity. But Larry Flint had a magazine called Hustler. And if you thought that Playboy's photo layouts were raunchy and disgusting, oh boy. I always thought that Playboy was tasteful and artistic and very beautiful. And the women would tell you, they would say, they made me feel beautiful during this photo shoot. I didn't feel forced. I didn't feel coerced. It was something that was a positive experience for me, right? And it was art. I really thought it was. And plus, a Playboy magazine, 130, 140 pages, it's like 7 pages of pictures. It's mostly articles. So, ladies, when your man says he's reading Playboy for the articles, statistically, he probably is. Hustler magazine was different. In Hustler magazine, the women were so exposed. In some of those photo layouts in Hustler magazine, you could see what that woman ate for breakfast. You know, you could just, you could see what she was thinking. You know what I mean? Some people would find that very offensive and very obscene. Well, The People versus Larry Flint, not only was it a famous landmark U.S. Supreme Court case, it also was a movie in which Woody Harrelson starred as Larry Flint. Larry Flint won that case. Even pornography, as raunchy as it may be, is protected speech and has a place in American journalism. Now, here's the thing. If you don't like it, you do not have to consume it. It's very, very simple. The same goes with music. There was a woman named Tipper Gore. She is, I'm assuming, the wife of Al Gore. She came up with an organization called the PMRC. I can't tell you what the acronym stands for, but the reason why we have explicit lyric stickers on albums and tapes and CDs is because they, the PMRC, wanted music censored. This music is naughty. It's got bad words in it, and it says terrible things, and the kids are going to listen to the music, and bad things are going to happen to the kids. The U.S. Supreme Court said you can't police artists' lyrics and their music. If you don't like it, don't buy it. But they did get a small victory that they have to put a parental advisory sticker on albums and on music that parents may find objectionable, but it does not require an artist to curtail their lyrics. There's always been these attempts to curtail speech because someone doesn't like what somebody else is saying. And every single time, without fail, the Supreme Court says, no, that's protected speech. There's a hip-hop group. Mighty fine hip-hop group they are. I saw them in concert many a time. In fact, some of their songs still echo in my mind. Their frontman, Luther Campbell, better known as Luke or Luke Skywalker, led the group called the 2 Live Crew. Yes, I remember those songs just like it was yesterday. They have a song called Pop That Coochie, but the original title ain't Coochie. You know what I mean? People thought their music was offensive and it was terrible and on stage. Have you ever been, you got to be of a certain age, have you ever been to a 2 Live Crew show? Have you ever seen those dancers? Lots of ass. So much ass on the stage. I don't even know how the 2 Live crew could perform because the ass was in abundance. And the music that they made was very assy. Somebody sued the 2 Live crew. You can't make this kind of raunchy music that talks about sex and doing all of these terrible things. The Supreme Court upheld that too. And then they came out with an album called Banned in the USA. And that album went platinum. I cannot tell you how many times. Bottom line is, you cannot police speech in America. Only under very specific and finite circumstances can you do it. But now Trump is able to. Keep in mind, we're not even a year into his first term. What does year 3 look like? Because these are all new constitutional plateaus. What he is able to get away with, he is building a foundation of creating an entirely new interpretation of America. And I fear that by year 2, year 3, I don't even know if we make it to year 4, this country will be unrecognizable. And no one is stopping him. I think that is why I am so concerned. The Democrats can't do anything as of yet. But the Democrats have theirs coming. You think the Democrats are not going to suffer any consequences? I have an article here. And I'm not kidding you. I wish I was joking. I'm not joking. The Republican Party, being led by Donald Trump, wants to, and I'm not kidding. So earlier I was talking about, well, for African Americans who sometimes we make our livings as content creators making fun of or bashing or disrespecting Donald Trump because we can, because it's legal, because it's legitimate. And I think that there's a chorus of people that are very angry about what is happening in this country because of a particular public figure. And our speech and our anger against a public official has always been protected speech in this country. It's one of the most preservative rights that we have in the whole of the U.S. Constitution. Well, they did a number of things. I think a lot of executive orders could be seen as harmful to African Americans. I think that sending the U.S. military into a number of cities where there are African American leaders in these blue cities, blue counties, and blue states, I think that can be harmful to African Americans. I think that the cutting of federal government's investment in cancer research by 40% in the first year is devastating because Donald Trump used the justification of, well, cancer research is DEI. It's a DEI program because he found out, like all of us did, that every $300 that you invest, the federal government invests in cancer research, we can extend the life of a cancer patient by a whole year. We invest billions of dollars in cancer research because we want to find a cure for that very, very horrible disease that can strike sometimes without warning. And let's be mindful of the fact that sometimes cancer strikes children. Donald Trump wants to cut cancer research funding. We know that African Americans are often diagnosed later with worse forms and more exacerbated forms of cancer, but the research that has been done has preserved our lives. Let me do you one better. The majority of the babies that are being born in the United States right now are not white. So then you get Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. in there telling people that all vaccines are bad. He even said something like Tylenol causes autism. I thought it got rid of headaches, but according to him, all of this misinformation is going to lead to poorer health outcomes for a community that is already not very healthy. These are all incremental things that can have a measurable impact, when all taken together, can have a measurable impact on the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of African Americans. But then they're doing this other thing. The Trump administration is literally looking at ways of how they can outlaw the Democratic Party by likening the Democratic Party to a terrorist organization. I am not kidding you. If they can get 2 late-night talk show hosts that use protected speech and use political satire and editorial journalism fired, then putting the Democratic Party on a terrorism watch list is something that is in the purview of this administration. Donald Trump could be plotting to outlaw the Democratic Party in the wake of the killing of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, according to one analysis. CNN's Jamal Simmons said recent comments made by Trump and the White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller were, quote, absolutely a concern regarding the future of the two-party system in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, you may not like the Democratic Party, and you clearly have expressed that to me and a number of other people on a whole bunch of occasions. You don't think they're doing enough, they're not going far enough. Okay, fine. But to call them a terrorist organization seems to... There are some details that they give as justification for calling the Democratic Party a terrorist organization. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to share that information with you. I just want you to have an understanding of this. Donald Trump wants America to be a single-party system that he is the head of and that he controls by saying that the Democratic Party, and they're moving forward and taking steps to call the Democratic Party a terrorist organization. That's a list that once you get on it, you don't get off that list. And like you can't get on airplanes. They'll freeze your bank accounts. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're declared a terrorist organization, I want people to have an understanding of this now. The Patriot Act is now aimed at you. Now we're looking at searches and seizures. Now we're looking at warrantless wiretaps. Oh my goodness, how the Republicans have wanted to do surveillance on their political opposition. Watergate. That's why Richard Nixon was impeached and why he ultimately resigned. Now Trump is likely able to get away with it. And I wish that I was just, being extreme and using hyperbole. No. And this is, remember, we're just in year one. Imagine year 2, year 3, and heaven forbid if we make it to year 4. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 101.7 The Truth's Kyle Wallace, and the time is now, Milwaukee. Truth to Power is your platform, and on my show, our community always has a voice. There is no topic that is off limits, and I always give you my authentic opinions on how I feel, because keeping it real is the only way I know how to get down. Listen to Truth to Power with me, Kyle Wallace, every day from noon to 1 p.m. on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth app, and streaming live on YouTube at 101.7 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
It's 101.7 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home. But when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Watching them work from idea to installation gives you the ability to see firsthand the care taken to ensure the Pella experience is complete. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Serve restrictions apply in 9/30/2025.
We are the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer. We are nearly 1 million strong and growing stronger every day. Join us on Saturday, October 11th at 8 a.m. at Summerfest Southgate as we come together for the Making Strides of Milwaukee Walk. Whether you walk for a survivor, in the memory of a loved one, or to support the American Cancer Society, you bring us closer to a future free from breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country right here in Milwaukee? Sign up for free today at www.makingstrideswalk.org/MilwaukeeWI.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialists and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
He's going to go after his enemies. Remember, he said this campaign was about retribution? He wasn't kidding. I think I got used to dismissing Trump because he says a lot of crazy stuff. You can't take all that stuff seriously. And maybe I even took a couple of cues from his Republican friends and colleagues saying, oh, he's just being a salesman and a showman. He's using a lot of bluster. You can't take him serious. That's the genius in Donald Trump. And yes, I did use the word genius synonymous with Donald Trump because he would say such outrageous things that are so overwhelming, you begin to dismiss him. And then any of those unbelievable, dismissible, outrageous things he can make come to fruition because no one is stopping him. I like to think I learned a lot about history. I read a lot of books and things, and I watched a lot of movies and documentaries. I still like historical documentaries. Nowhere did I ever see, anywhere, because I would have remembered, that if we get a tyrant elected, that we don't have the mechanisms to stop the tyrant. We don't have, so there's no guardrails. It's not his political party because they're afraid of him. The Democrats who have essentially made their way and created their political apparatus by defaming Republicans and conservatives and evangelicals and Donald Trump, they're not credible because they're always talking negative about the Republicans, so they're not able to stop him. And it's not like Donald Trump wakes up in the morning and says, oh, no, I can't do that because the Democrats will be mad at me. I think he does things intentionally to incite his political opposition. But there is nothing that is stopping him. No one. No entity. If it was a Democrat, a donor would say, hey, Democratic candidate or Democratic elected official, you can't say that because if you do, I'll freeze your donations. Donald Trump doesn't need donations because he has the U.S. Treasury. Somebody needs to count the money in the Treasury. Why wouldn't he go steal $1 billion? Who's going to stop him? What if Donald Trump just went to Fort Knox and just filled his pockets with gold bullion? Who's going to stop him? I did not think that this constitutional republic did not have guardrails where it could protect itself and protect the American people and protect the Constitution from a tyrant. They do not exist. Donald Trump is plotting to outlaw the Democratic Party in the wake of the killing of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, according to one analyst. CNN's Jamal Simmons said recent comments made by Trump and the White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller were, quote, absolutely a concern regarding the future of the two-party system in America. Appearing with Caitlin Collins on The Source to discuss the political impact of Kirk's assassination, Simmons said, the president's deputy chief of staff came out today and called the Democratic Party an extremist organization after the president said that he was going to take action against all extremist organizations. Therefore, the question arises in my mind, is the president of the United States going to outlaw the Democratic Party? Is that where we are headed? Quote, is the president of the United States going to unleash the Justice Department on the Democratic Party? Asked if this was his concern, Simmons said, quote, it's absolutely a concern. This president has shown he is willing to use the Department of Justice to go after his political enemies. And it didn't just start with him saying lock up Hillary Clinton. It raises very real concerns about a two-party democratic system in this country. On Monday, senior figures in the Trump administration claimed, without presenting public evidence, that the killing was a result of an organized left-wing terror plot They vowed to go after the groups behind it. This makes me think that the killing of Charlie Kirk was orchestrated so that Donald Trump could respond by saying, oh, they killed a MAGA supporting conservative. We need to go after the entire left end of the political spectrum because they're a terrorist organization. This sounds like a false flag and a little bit of a rabbit hole. Shout out Benjamin. We are all going to channel all of the anger we have over the organized campaign that led to this assassination to uproot and dismantle these terrorist networks, said Stephen Miller, who appeared on a special episode of Kirk's podcast, which the United States Vice President J.D. Vance hosted. The Vice President of the United States is now hosting Charlie Kirk's podcast. Dude, don't you have other stuff to do being Vice President? Why is the Vice President of the United States hosting a podcast? You know what, J.D. Vance? Come host my show. Come on. You want to host something? Come get a taste of Truth Nation. Oh, y'all would tear his ass up. Could you imagine J.D. Vance filling in for me one day if I'm on assignment? Last week, Trump said he wanted to take, quote, revenge on Democrats at the ballot box, which at least suggests he still believes the party will be his election opponents, before adding, quote, the radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy. Are you guys ready for the bomb to drop? I got a bomb here. I got a bomb, Andrew. In an interview, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, said, the Democratic Party is not a political party. It's a domestic extremist organization. Let me finish the quote now. Because now they're coming directly for us. They were coming for us with the executive orders. They were coming for us by putting the National Guard in blue cities that are majority minority that have African-American mayors. They're coming for us by calling cancer research funding a DEI program because it has extended the lives of African-Americans who were dying prematurely from undiagnosed or exacerbated cancer. Now they are coming directly for us. And I quote, the Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. He means black people. Our political apparatus that we support to the tune of 90% has now become and is being called and is being pursued as an entity devoted exclusively, like they do nothing else, devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. If they are able to get the Democratic Party on a terrorism watch list by linking it to the killing of Charlie Kirk, which they've already done without any credible evidence, then every Democratic elected official could be subjected to all of the punitive measures laid out in the Patriot Act. Let's talk to Al. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing fine. We're not far, so that means Viteria Gomez with the real hard accent, who barely could speak a lick of English, who came through here through her immigrant mammy and father, her immigrant mammy and pappy with the flamethrower with all the races. That means also those school terrorists as well. And then he talked about the gangbangers. Well, the biggest gangbangers is white hate with AR-15s that's doing all the school shooting. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't a lot of MAGAs turning against him? And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it Charlie Kirk who didn't take the money from Israel because Charlie Kirk was starting to turn against Trump? So it sounds like all the people he's talking about is all the people that look like him. Also, I wanted to tell you, too, if you ever get a chance and you see Donald Trump talk, anytime you ask him about question A, he always talk about something that deals with Z, something you ain't never heard of him. Those are early signs of dementia. I know a lot of people might not want to, really pay attention to it, but it is. Also, I wanted to share with you, too, 95% of your conservatives are hypocrites. And I'm going to tell you how. You remember the Bouillon lady? so good. Now, she sat there and said she was effing a black man, but she voted for laws and policies that's against him. Okay? So how can you F a black man or a black woman and still vote for the policies and laws that's against a black man or a black woman? Not only that makes you a hypocrite, what it says is that person is nothing but a piece of ass for your sexual gratification. Because if your love and care is really there for that black man or black woman, you will vote for policies that's going to protect them and enrich them. But if you still vote for policies that's against them and then you go vote for the policies after you get up from your orgasm and take a shower and urinate, it only says they were a piece of ass, which makes them a hypocrite. And I hope some of these white conservatives call in, just like them racists up in Ironwood,
Why
Michigan.
you always telling them to call in, Al? Then I got to beef with them, because when they call in, I got to deal with them, not you.
Well, my thing is because they always say the great things that Trump did, but they never speak out against racism. They never speak out against racism, but they always say they effing a black man or a black woman, but you still take your white ass and vote for policies against a black man or a black woman. And it says, and this is about integrity and a character issue. Because if I, talking about me as a black man, was sleeping with a Russian, a white, or anything, I'm not going to go vote for the policies and laws that's against them when I'm effing them every night. Because that says that I'm no damn good. So I just wanted to bring that to the forefront. I hope some of these white conservatives call in and challenge it, because they always say. Well, they always say, well, you know, I got a black wife, I got a black husband, but you still vote for the policies that's against your black wife and your black husband, which means when they leave your house, they still looked at as a Negro, which means the racism does not stop after you get done having a damn orgasm. So we need to keep it 100. And I wanted to ask your take on that. What does that say about their integrity? What does it say about their character that you would sit here and say, well, I voted for the policies and the laws against something that I F every single MF night? What does it say about their integrity? But they'll still vote for that racism. And I hang up and listen.
All right, thank you, Al. I do want to answer that. I'm going to provide an academic level answer, a political answer, without using the F and MF and M and hypocrites. And yeah, it is very hypocritical, but I can very easily explain how someone can personally be connected to, involved with, date, be married to, say, a minority, but vote for Donald Trump. I have an explanation for that, because this is something that I have come across before. That's number one. Number two, hey, if you're a Trump person, you don't have to call in. That's fine. Not really a lot of you listen. I think it's less and less every day. But there's more and more of somebody that's listening to my show. I just don't really know if they're conservative Trump people. Maybe they're people that used to like Trump that don't like him anymore, because this is a very comfortable home for you. Welcome to all of you people. Andrew said is white people. I've always had whites. I've had so many whites. When I was at Truth Family Fest a couple of weeks ago, the only people that came up to me and thanked me for my show and wanted to meet me were the whites. Probably because I think I've met all the black people already, but I probably have more white listeners than you would expect. But I don't know if they're listening for the right reasons. I think they're listening.
Willikers, Sherwin, I love the show.
Andrew, was that your white impression?
Yeah, that's my white impression. Every impression I do is a white impression.
Exactly. You don't have to put emphasis on it. You can just talk. I mean, no offense. I mean, I sound probably like a black person. I don't care. And if a white person makes fun of how I sound, I actually think it's funny. I don't get offended. Yes, you see race. I bet you if somebody robs you, oh my God, they were so black. The blackest thing I've ever seen. Ain't nobody gonna say, hi, I was just robbed. Oh, can you give a description of the person? I did not see their race. I did not have an opinion on their ethnic background. I did not detect an accent from a foreign country. If I did, I would not say it, because it might make me racist. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back and I'm going to explain the hypocrisy. I guess first and foremost, people don't care about being hypocrites. We're hypocrites all the time. We'll say one thing and do another all the time. Have you ever... Do we take our own advice? Like, you might have a friend coming to you in need, and you can direct them perfectly what they need to do, what behaviors they need to change. You can tell them all the stuff they're doing wrong, right? You have all of this incredible wisdom, but you don't even live the same wisdom yourself. I have the best advice for other people, none of which I follow, right? So hypocrisy is not anything that anybody is ever concerned about. So let me take a break. I'm going to come back. When I explain, on the other side, I'm going to explain why someone can vote for a political party that can do real social and economic damage to a person that they're involved with. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tracy, going back to the process, and as it relates specifically to the partnership that Old National Bank has with Housing Resource, what does the process consist of when coming through this program?
It's a referral process. We work with clients that first-time homeowners that may not have the counseling that they need. They may not have the equity, the down payment that they need. So we refer them to our partners like HRI or Housing Resources, Inc., because we recognize that those organizations, they have the resources, they have the tutorial documentation and all of those things that are necessary for first-time homeowners that don't know the process, may not know the system, may not know what's required for home ownership. So working with Housing Resources, Inc. and other partnerships that we have like through WIDA has been very, very advantageous, not only for us, but also the organizations, but also for the community.
This is your Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin Community Impact Moment on 1017 The Truth.
What was the life change? We all know it happened, and we know things happen, and you have bad kidneys, but what was the life change afterwards?
A couple things. Before they even allow you to get on the list, they make you go through a battery of tests. And, a lot of people don't qualify because they're overweight, or they have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So all those things are requirements before you can even get approved to be on the list. So I had...
Wait, you got to be approved to be on the list?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's interesting. There's a professional athlete or former professional athlete I know right now that has kidney disease, and he's on dialysis, and he wants to get on the list, and he's not accepting all the things you have to do, to get on the list. But yeah, so for me, I spent 30 years in the automobile industry. That's 12, 14-hour days, eating whatever somebody brings you to eat, whatever you run out and grab, McDonald's, whatever. It was never salads and,
Yeah, but that was a choice, right?
It was a choice. Yeah. But I had to change all of that to even qualify to be on the list. I had to get down to the weight I had to be at. I had to get my phosphorus under control, my potassium under control.
Wait a minute. Even though somebody said they would give you a kidney,
absolutely,
you had to still make yourself eligible?
Absolutely.
Nah, that's okay.
When I mentioned the athlete, his relative actually died, and they wanted to take his organs, and they couldn't because he wasn't qualified. He wasn't on the list. Wow. But yeah, you have to be.
So there are over 100,000 people on that waiting list. So they are very serious.
And how many donors do we have?
And that's the problem. We don't have nearly enough donors.
Wow.
And that's why it's such a critical need. But they are serious about who they're giving that gift of life to, because there are so many people who are literally dying waiting for it.
To make an impact by donating blood in your community, visit versity.org today. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Let me see you pop them things, shake them, doodle brand.
Shake some ass real quick. It's only for the people watching on YouTube. Shake some ass. All right, Andrew, we might have to turn that off. So a couple of things I want to do. A little out of breath from shaking that small bit of ass. I don't even have a lot of ass. Clearly. I don't have much ass. I wish I did sometimes. I don't have much junk in my trunk.
You don't throw it back like that?
No! I don't throw it back. I throw it forward. Forward is I charge forward. I don't throw anything back. That's not what a man should do. A man shouldn't be looking behind him like, you like that? That's not what we do. Okay.
I got my new Friday feeling vid now, though. I'm going to throw this up on social every time it's Friday.
I don't know about all that.
We got videos of Sherwin dancing. This is great.
I might get canceled. All right, check it out. Look, the YouTube numbers dropped. They saw that little bit of ass twerking. They're like, we're out of here. We got to know. All right, a reason why you would vote for a party or a person that has policies contrary to that of your romantic partner is because there are some people that want to be dominant and they want to control their partner. And one way to do that is to vote for a political party that subjugates your partner so that they are essentially marginalized so they can look to you to protect and provide for them. Does that make sense? If you don't want women to have rights and women to be strong and independent and women to take on the world and be doctors and be lawyers and to make a bunch of money, if you don't want women to be independent, if you don't want women to be able to make choices about their own bodies, vote for a Republican, but still be with a woman because she will have less power. Now, you will be the more powerful one because you will have policies behind you giving you strength while weakening her. It is a way in which we can subjugate our partners and then not take any responsibility for it. Because that's not you taking away somebody's rights. It's somebody else. It's a politician. It's not me. But then you become the more powerful one in the relationship. So you can use politics and you can use your vote to make your partner more submissive and make you more politically dominant over them. And that is why men sometimes vote away from the best interests of their wives, of their daughters, of their mothers, because men still want to have some kind of control and dominance over women. I mean, that stuff is even in the Bible. And if there's a political party that allows you to subjugate your partner, and here's the thing, you can love your partner very much, but you still may want them to be dependent on you and not have their own rights. Because if they have their own rights and if they're able to be independent, they could leave you. If you handcuff your partner politically by voting for a political party that subjugates them, they're always going to need you. You're going to have more opportunity. You're going to have more freedom. You're probably going to make more money. You're going to be more respected in the world than they are. So you can vote to subjugate your partner to keep them submissive. That is one way to do it. So you can have, as Al referred to, a woman that called in my program, she is involved with or was married to a Latino man. I think Al said she was married to or involved with an African-American man. It's actually a Latino man. But then she also proudly admitted that she voted for Donald Trump, right? And that's really hypocritical because if you're involved with, married to, partner with a Latino, why would you vote for Donald Trump? Because the Latino man that she is or was involved with has got to be solely dependent upon her. He now may need to marry her so that he can stay in the country so he can get access to full citizenship. You see how that works? You can vote to make someone so submissive that they need you because you have more power than them. That's probably the best explanation that I can give. Very unusual times that we are living in, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, let's check the poll, shall we? We posted a poll on YouTube. It's a very important poll. It's very scientific. I want everyone to vote. You don't have to be 18 to vote in this poll. Hell, you don't even have to register, but you can only vote once. And the question, I think we're going to win a Nobel Peace Prize for this, personally. The question is Sherwin pretty? And your choices are yes and yes. And again, it has leveled out at 75% yes to 25% yes. So it looks like we're making some progress, right? I kind of want to see 50-50, but I'll take a 75-25. If 25% of the people think that I'm attractive, and then 75% of the other people think that I'm attractive, well, then I'm doing this to prove a point, ladies and gentlemen. So the other... Yeah, the polls matter very much. Polls are very accurate. They predict all of the things in the world. All right, so we have an attack on our First Amendment right. Jimmy Kimmel was terminated because he essentially used the president's own words against him in a comedy bit, using some editorial, satirical, political comedy, which is what a lot of American media does, especially late-night television. In fact, it's why a lot of people watch it. If the president is able to, and I think it's not going to stop with these late-night talk show hosts who routinely make fun of and blast Donald Trump. It's not going to stop with them. It may extend into their actual broadcast networks, because all of these broadcast networks are under the thumb of the Federal Communications Commission. I do have some quotes from the FCC chairman because I want to show his hypocrisy too. It's amazing how people can have a real clear-eyed understanding of U.S. laws and the Constitution before they get with Donald Trump, and then Trump hires them or appoints them, and they lose all of their rational sensibilities. And it's outstandingly shocking to me, because even J.D. Vance, the current vice president of the United States, who is now hosting the dead Charlie Kirk's podcast. Could you imagine if Joe Biden, when he was vice president, was hosting somebody's podcast? I would be like, Joe, yeah, see, I'm hosting a podcast. I'm serious. I'm hosting it. I'm a host. Look at me. I'm hosting. Oh, my God. So I think you have a Joe Biden clip. I want him to, if you find a Joe Biden clip, Andrew, he's got to be like more Joe Biden than ever. Like, in fact, if you have, I would have you play the debate performance, but that might hurt to hear. He just lost it. He just fell away from the earth with that. He was, yeah, see? Oh, boy. Oh, Medicare. We got the Medicare. We got the Medicaid. We got the... And then it was over. His campaign was over right after that. All right, so if Trump is able to do this, able to get people that disagree with him fired, kicked off the air, whatever, and if networks are going to pay a price, because there's going to be some network that's going to say, screw you, Trump, we're not going to fire our host, we're not going to surrender to your authoritarian wishes and whims, then that network could lose their broadcast license, right? So here's what I think should happen. I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and find a Joe Biden clip of Joe Biden sounding very Joe Biden. Poor Joe Biden. Missed that guy. Even though he was napping for a good 4 years. That's fine. He needed the rest. When the Democrats get back in control, and I think they will, I just don't know how yet, but I think they will, they should take down Fox News. They should take down Breitbart. They should take down Newsmax. They should take down every Fox, all of them, because Trump is setting the precedent. If you can extinguish your political opposition by taking their FCC broadcast privileges and licenses because there are editorial journalists or there are comedians or there are podcasters, Joe Rogan, bye. Get out of here, Joe Rogan, all the other podcasters. The Democrats, so Trump may not know the monster that he is creating. If the left, if they ever dig themselves out of being deemed a terrorist organization, if they ever get back political power, and if a Democrat ever wins the White House again, they should obliterate any conservative talk radio station. Start with WISN right here in Milwaukee. Get out of here. You're out of here. You're FCC'd, sucker. That's right. Go find other jobs. No more conservative talk radio ever, because they're being disrespectful to Democrats, and they said bad stuff about Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. Pull their licenses. Good, do it. Now, we just got to survive until the Democrats can get back in control. And when they do, all conservative media, take Christian channels off of the air. We don't need all that God in America. Make it godless. Have no more rules and no more freedom of religion. You got to be an agnostic now. If you're a Christian, you're going to jail. We don't need all this Christianity no more. Y'all have too much Jesus anyway. And where's Jesus been at? I got a news story right here that I don't even want to talk about, because a 13-year-old shot and killed an 11-year-old. How What are you at 13? What are you at 6th grade? 7th grade? 11, you're in 5th grade? The hell are they even arguing over? Okay, take a break, come back. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr has sent mixed signals on political satire and humor. So he is the current FCC chairman that facilitated the firing of Jimmy Kimmel because Jimmy made what I thought was a funny but benign joke about Donald Trump in the wake of the Charlie Kirk killing. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this.
Congratulations. Woo! God is good all the time.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to buy my nieces some school clothes because my nephew just passed away.
Aww.
So I'm going to get them some clothes.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 101.7thetruth.com.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind & Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas or visit mso.org.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialists and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 5 and 20%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. Visit amfam.com to learn more. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
This summer, your wishes take center stage at WishFest at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Play your favorite games with your Potawatomi Rewards card all summer for over $1 million in prizes and earn entries into the WishFest prize drawings on Friday, September 26th. Your entries from July, August, and September all count. Plus, 5 lucky winners will have their ultimate wish granted. Wish big, win big. Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and rewards member to play.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Of course, we have to make sure that the killer is brought to justice, and importantly, we have to talk about this incredibly destructive movement of left-wing extremism that has grown up over the last few years, and I believe is part of the reason why Charlie was killed by an assassin's bullet. We're going to talk about how to dismantle that and how to bring real unity that can only come when we tell the truth and everybody knows that they can speak their mind about the issues of the day without being cut down by a murderer's gun.
Oh, shut up.
Of course, we have...
Shut him up. Unbelievable. All right, now here, you ready? You guys ready for this?
make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with.
Man! Oh, it was over after that. Oh,
we finally beat Medicare.
No, you didn't.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicaid, beat it to death.
But okay, so that debate cost Joe Biden the presidency. But then for Stephen Miller to say, and I'll quote, "The Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity exclusively devoted to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists." Does Joe Biden sound like that kind of person? They're trying to make this a one-party country. And I think that they can, because nothing, like the media is not holding Trump accountable. They can't. They're afraid. The amount of fear. You know what? I'm starting to see something. I never thought I would see this. For all of these decades and generations in America, African Americans have been pursued relentlessly by a number of different institutions. And we talk about institutional racism, and some people don't know what that is. It's weaponizing an education system against African Americans. It can be as simple as, let's just not teach black people their history. Let's let them believe that they literally started from slaves, that they did not exist as human beings or had any humanity prior to that. Let's have a healthcare system that still is wrought with racial discrimination. Let's not spend nearly as much money per capita on health prevention outcomes for African Americans. Let's overly police black families and black communities. First, let's deindustrialize their communities where they had factory jobs right there where they could walk to work with a lunch pail and a thermos full of coffee. Take that away. Build more liquor stores and more poisonous fast food while you're reducing healthcare resources, while too many of the children are under grade level when it comes to reading and math. All of those are institutions, and I can say that those institutions can leave a lot to be desired. Not to mention I thought he had a gun, and an African-American pulls out a cell phone or pulls out their wallet. When they're asked to pull out their wallet to show their ID, they get killed. I would say law enforcement in this nation is an institution. I can give you a bunch of examples of how that institution has failed African-Americans, and the incarceration rate, and the fact that this city right now, Milwaukee, was under a consent decree until Donald Trump lifted it, because it was illustrated and demonstrated, and then the city of Milwaukee Police Department was sued by the ACLU because there was overwhelming information that more African-American men and Latino men were pulled over than white men, even when there was little justification for those traffic stops. So the Milwaukee Police Department essentially got sued by the Obama administration, but don't worry, Donald Trump lifted that lawsuit. I can say that institutions have been weaponized against African-American progress. And it's not even the black thug that they fear. It's the black smart person that has ambition and that has drive. I think they fear that. White supremacy fears that. White people celebrate it and congratulate it. White supremacy fears black progress because they believe that we may overtake their position in society. Newsflash, we don't want your position in society because it requires too much murder and too much hate, too much hypocrisy, and too much killing. But wouldn't you think that we as black people would be afraid every single day, afraid to leave the house, afraid to drive a car, afraid to go out into the world? Wouldn't you think so? With all that they have done and still continue to do, wouldn't you think that we would be scared? You know who's scared? Other white people. Like Jimmy Fallon should be afraid. Seth Meyers should be afraid. White media institutions like the New York Times should be and probably are afraid. This is why nobody is challenging Trump. They're afraid of him. We are not afraid of him because we have seen all of this before. There has not been a violence-free epoch in black history in this country where whiteness or white supremacy has not literally taken our lives. It could be in the education system. It could be in the prison system. It could be in the healthcare system. So we are not afraid. They are. That's why no one is challenging him. And I didn't ever think that that was a reality. I didn't think that other white people, and other white institutions and other white corporations and other white businesses would be more afraid of Trump than black people are. And we actually have the bodies to show for it. We have the victims to show for it. We have the poor health disparity to show for it, and the skills gap and the income gap and the education gap to show for it. And we're not afraid of him. But people that have greatly benefited from folks like Donald Trump and their policies in the past are afraid of, like, you're scared of him? Y'all need to learn from us. That's why nobody is stopping him. The whole of the Republican Party is afraid to even challenge that man. And I guess I see why. I wonder if we'll ever see it. Will we ever see a Republican that stands up, calls a press conference and says Donald Trump has done too much, he's gone too far, he is now trying to violate the First Amendment of the Constitution? Will we ever see that? I highly doubt it, because they are more afraid of him than we are. And that's just terribly disappointing. And I thought that they were the master race. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Come in with straight truth.
And to make matters even worse, Truth Nation, when you look at more numbers, there have been 59 children shot in the city of Milwaukee, and 40 of the perpetrators were also under 18. They were children. So you have almost 60 young folks here. If you go to a private school, some schools only got 60 kids in elementary school, but you're talking about maybe 3 classrooms in a middle school or elementary school worth of kids who have been shot in our city this year, but 40 of them who perpetrated the act were also children. So you're talking about 100 kids who are ruining their lives in the city of Milwaukee in 8 months. We have to be better, because when you look at the overall murder rate in the city of Milwaukee, Milwaukee makes up about 50% of the total murders in the whole state of Wisconsin. But seeing young folks getting killed and young folks shooting guns is extremely troubling and puzzling to me. It should be puzzling to you as well. It's a troubling reality that we have to face in our community.
Watch all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows by subscribing to 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
The biggest snowflakes out here are always been the white Republicans, who are so gung-ho on protecting the feelings of white kids while they ignore the needs of other kids. If Milwaukee's youth has a problem with fighting, well, white youth have a problem with being destructive and offensive. So it is sad that our government is actively working to de-emphasize educating and uplifting students of color in different backgrounds on college campuses. That emphasis is going to be diminished, and the only kids that will suffer will be our kids. They were willing to hold up the advancement of the state of Wisconsin because they disagree with DEI. What are white Republicans afraid of? Why are they afraid to face the fact that their grandmas and grandpapas were part of a system which purposely held black folks back and failed to give us the access that we deserve? Until these politicians stop ignoring these egregious acts of hate and racial incidents, America can never be great again.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
Dad's gonna be far side, good.
What should I do with my dress?
Do the wiggles.
The slate's coming in. What does it feel like when you're down or having a bad day?
It feels sad, like you just don't want to do anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
He's just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts, because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Join the movement. Listen to the Tori Lowe Show on 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, the locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Locked and Lovely says, is Sherwin pretty? Let's see him dance again. Nice try. Why are you trying to objectify me? Rhea is back with me. Rhea, how you been?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing much better than I was a couple weeks ago. So you missed it earlier. I twerked a little bit. Not a lot. I didn't give him 100%. I didn't give him all that ass. I gave him like a little bit. I gave him a little cheek. Because I was talking about how music has been challenged via obscenity laws. There have been people and institutions that want to censor an artist's creativity by saying, oh, this music is too vulgar. And we use the example, a hip-hop group that was popular in the late 80s and the early 1990s called 2 Live Crew. And they made like Miami bass, booty-shaking music. And then Andrew played one of their very popular songs from my youth called I Wanna Rock. And I couldn't help it. When I heard the song, I had to twerk a little bit. I had to show a little bit of that ass. And now people in the YouTube chat, they want to see more of this sweet keister I have. But no, you're not going to objectify me. I'm a man. Hey, everybody, my eyes are up here. Unbelievable, some of you people, I swear. Mao, I want to answer your question, but I don't know if I understand it. He says, my question is still not answered. First of all, I didn't see where you asked your question at first. Why don't you just call in, dude? You know how much easier it is if you just call and explain yourself as opposed to talk or typing, rather, where it can be ambiguous. So if you can't call, I'm going to do the best I can with a vague explanation, your vague question. He says, do you think if today's social standards were back when the Constitution was written, do you think the language used would be the same? I don't even know where to begin with that. Social standards for who? Because social standards vary by community. They vary by income. Like wealthier communities have different social standards than working class communities. Social standards when it comes to whom? Men have social standards. Maybe they're stereotypical. Women have social standards. So I'm not sure. I'm trying to get to the gist of your question. Do you think if today's social standards were back when the Constitution was written, do you think the language used would be the same? I think that there were some of the things in our society right now existed then. Rebellion, the desire for freedom, opportunity, and liberty, the adherence to capitalism and making money and wanting to be wealthy and wanting to be powerful and wanting to control the media. Newspapers and media were very, very big during the founding of the nation. As a matter of fact, that was the precursor for war. The Federalist Papers talking about how bad British colonial rule was. So there's whatever we have in today's society, whatever spirit we have, whatever cultural diversities we have existed then. Black people fighting for freedom, fighting for opportunity, fighting to get jobs and be recognized as human. We were suing for our freedom. We were buying our freedom. Sometimes we're doing it now. Now you buy your freedom by becoming an entrepreneur. Not having to work for somebody else, putting enough money away, saving enough money away so you can invest in your own job opportunities. Absolutely. So there are some similarities, but I think you might be getting at something a little bit different. So while you decide you want to call in, I want to give you guys some information about this guy named Brendan Carr, whose name you're probably going to hear more often. He is the current chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. The FCC, and he was appointed by Donald Trump. The FCC monitors and regulates and can take enforcement action against anything that is publicly broadcasted, including me right now, including the local television stations that you watched, your NBC affiliate, your Fox affiliate, your CBS affiliate, your ABC affiliate, where Jimmy Kimmel lost his job because he made what I thought was a relatively benign but honest joke about Donald Trump. You're going to get to know this guy a little bit more intimately because he is going to be putting pressure on some of these networks who are regulated by the FCC to take hosts off the air that are critical of Donald Trump. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr has sent mixed signals on political satire and humor over the years, Since 2022 and earlier, Carr publicly praised satire, which is what Jimmy Kimmel was fired for. He praised satire as a vital form of free speech. In a resurfaced tweet from 2022, he said, now this is the current chairman of the FCC appointed by Donald Trump, Brendan Carr, who was the one that urged the ABC affiliate to fire Jimmy Kimmel, and they did. Here's what he said in 2022. Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech. It challenges those in power while using humor to draw more people into the discussion. That's why people in influential positions have always targeted for censorship. He said that in 2022. Now, he did the exact opposite by calling for and getting the firing of Jimmy Kimmel. He had also previously argued that the FCC, quote, does not have a roving mandate to police speech in the name of public interest. Since he has been appointed by Donald Trump, and regarding Jimmy Kimmel, after Jimmy Kimmel mocked Donald Trump allies in a monologue referencing Charlie Kirk's assassination, Chairman Carr called the remarks, quote, the sickest conduct possible. He suggested the FCC could and should and did pressure ABC and Disney by threatening their affiliate licenses. Quote, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, the chairman said. These companies can find ways to take actions on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. So that's basically a threat. We will pull your broadcast license if you do not get rid of the host that made a joke that made Donald Trump feel somewhat uncomfortable. And we played the 1 minute and 6 second clip of what Jimmy Kimmel said. So there was an interview that Donald Trump was doing where a reporter met him on the White House lawn and asked the president what I thought was a fair, honest, and a decent question. Hey, how are you holding up after the killing of your friend, Charlie Kirk? Trump, he was very short with his response. He was like, I'm all right, but look over here. We're building the White House ballroom. Jimmy Kimmel used that video clip, used that exchange between that reporter and Donald Trump to basically say Donald Trump responded to the killing of his friend. Now, remember, the president ordered flags to be flown at half-staff. You would think the fellow would be grieving. You'd think. But I've also remarked on previous shows that Donald Trump is the only American president that I have witnessed that shows no empathy. None. He has zero compassion. Flags were flown at half-staff because you would think that the president was in mourning. And when asked about the killing of his friend, he diverted to, oh, look over there. We're building a ballroom in the White House. Jimmy Kimmel essentially played that clip and said Donald Trump is responding to the death of his friend like a 4-year-old responds to the death of a goldfish. I thought that was funny. I thought it was spot on. I thought it was on brand. It's also protected speech. Jimmy Kimmel is no longer on the air because of that. Now, that has me thinking. I've said way worse, way more often about Donald Trump, going back to his first term. Way worse, way more often. And I'm not going to stop because I am here to provide that criticism, especially to the extent that that criticism points out inefficiencies in his policies and in his executive orders that harm people. The president wants to take away the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, meaning if you have health insurance, and 24 million of you do through the Affordable Care Act exchange, some of y'all think of Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are two separate things. You're about to find out that they're the same. On average, this is average now, your health insurance premiums are going to go up by 75% in the month of January of 2026. Some of you will be able to withstand that. Some of you are going to have to make some budget cuts. Some of you are going to have to, be a little bit smarter with your money. Some of you will no longer be able to afford your health insurance. Here's one thing that I can guarantee about human beings, especially human beings in the United States of America. At some point, you are going to need health care, even when you don't want it. I just needed some health care. I was at work I didn't plan on leaving here in a very expensive ride to Columbia St. Mary's. What's an ambulance ride go for? It's not like they went far. Is it like Uber surge pricing? Can I tell you guys something? Speaking of Uber surge pricing, I went to a show at the Rave not too long ago. The Rave is located on 24th in Wisconsin. I think the address is 2401 West Wisconsin, okay? The 3rd Street Market Hall, where I'm broadcasting from right now, it's on 3rd Street. 3rd in Wisconsin. What's the math on that? It's 21 blocks, okay? If I do things downtown, maybe I go to the theater, maybe I go out to dinner at one of the many restaurants, maybe I eat here at the 3rd Street Market Hall, okay? I catch me an Uber because I get to park here for free. So I park my car here in the structure, and then wherever I may need to go from downtown, if I'm downtown, I'll take an Uber. And if I happen to be imbibing that evening, I'll just leave my vehicle here and I'll take an Uber home, okay? Typical weekend, there was a show I wanted to see at the Rave. Parked my vehicle here at the 3rd Street Market Hall parking structure because I got free parking here because I work here. Took an Uber to the Rave because you don't want to drive to the Rave because the parking is expensive and there's a lot of congestion or whatever. So I took an Uber, like $9, right? Not a lot, worth it. Rather pay the $9 than pay $25 or $30 to park in one of those crowded lots at the Rave. Show got out at, wasn't even late. I don't know, 10:45, 11 o'clock. I decided that I wanted to go home after the show. You know how much my Uber was to get home? $37.93. Cost me $9 to get to the Rave. I spent almost $50 to go 42 blocks. So I'm wondering how much an ambulance ride costs. It can't cost more than an Uber surge ride, right? It can't. No. Would you happen to know, Rhea? Because I don't know if my insurance covers ambulance rides. However, I'm digressing. 2025 regarding Jimmy Kimmel. After Jimmy Kimmel mocked Donald Trump's allies in a monologue referencing Charlie Kirk's assassination, Carr called the remarks, quote, the sickest conduct possible. You got to remember, this current chairman of the FCC once said that political satire is protected speech and it is necessary for American political dialogue. Now has put pressure on ABC to fire Jimmy Kimmel, and that's exactly what they did. Quote, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to take actions on Jimmy Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead, meaning the FCC could and would pull ABC's broadcast license, meaning any American broadcasting company affiliate could no longer have access to radio airwaves or television airwaves, leaving them essentially penniless because that's what advertisers pay for. They pay for their products and services to be showcased on ABC television stations. On Fox News' Hannity, Chairman Carr attacked late-night shows for turning humor into partisanship. Quote, they went from going for applause from laugh lines to applause lines. They went from being court jesters that would make fun of everybody in power to being court clerics enforcing a very narrow political ideology. Doesn't Fox News do the exact same thing? Here's what I said earlier. If the Democrats can some kind of way find themselves back into political power, I have no idea how, especially if Stephen Miller is able to pursue calling the entire Democratic Party a terrorist organization. I think I need to read that quote again because I don't know if people quite grasp the gravity of how bad and how damaging that could be. Quote, this is what the Deputy Chief of Staff for Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, said. The Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. And because they are trying to liken the Democratic Party to the agency and the organization that plotted the killing of Charlie Kirk, they want to put the entire Democratic Party, meaning Donald Trump's political opposition, on the terrorism watch list. because they want to link a political party that is the president's political opposition to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, meaning if you are a Democrat, either candidate or elected official, you will be subjected to all of the penalties and all of the government oversight of the Patriot Act. You know what that means? They can stop you from getting on an airplane. You know what that means? They can monitor all of your financial transactions and freeze your damn bank accounts. Can you imagine if the DNC is put on a terrorism watch list and they can no longer raise money and distribute money to candidates? They literally are pursuing this. And here's the thing. Nobody is stopping Trump. Hey, no Republicans are going to stop him because, of course, the Republicans would want the Democratic Party put on a terrorism watch list. Now, let's assume that this does not happen, right? And we get back to the precedents that Donald Trump is setting by going after media that is critical of you. If the Democrats get control of the presidency, they should wipe out Fox News. All conservative radio, all conservative television stations, Breitbart should be gone. They should lose their broadcast license and their license to be able to print and publish media. Fox News has to go. Newsmax has to go. Real Clear Politics has to go. All of their different websites, because if Donald Trump is able to do this through the FCC, where you can ban and take the licenses of individuals who broadcast and post editorial comment that says negative things about the president, then when the Democrats get in control, they should do the same thing. I would rather enjoy that. Because I don't listen to conservative media anyway, because they're very mean. They say lies and all sorts of untruths. Get rid of them. The country that we live in, The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
So let me ask you, when the government, and again, I'm doing the air quotes, tightens the belt, who's standing underneath the belt when it snaps back?
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
Don't want you to agree. Honestly, should I be transparent? I don't really care if you agree. I, like you, want to be heard.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 101.7 The Truth.
Talk to these people in terms of how do I register for this program despite my reservations and my previous experiences of rejection?
Yes, I tell anybody and everybody that you can buy a house. It may take somebody longer than the other person depending on what your circumstances is with your credit and income and affordability, but you can purchase a house. The first step would be is to register for our program. You can come to our office, 7830 West Burleigh Street, or you can give us a call at 414-461-6330, or just go onto our website, hri-wi.org. Register for the First Time Home Buyer Education Workshop. That's going to be your first step to home ownership. During that class, you're going to learn everything that you need to know from A to Z, how to get approved for a house, how to look for a house and put an accepted offer, and how to close on a home.
Experience, knowledge, results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Friday Night Lights now officially lives here. 101.7 The Truth is the proud home of Marquette Hilltoppers football. Tune in Friday night as the Hilltoppers travel to take on the Economawalk Raccoons. Join our coverage starting at 6:30 p.m., leading up to kickoff at 7 p.m. Marquette Hilltoppers football is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. And sponsored by Left's Lucky Town, C.G. Schmidt, Capital Insurance Agency, Boyle Fredrickson, Annex Wealth Management, Magic Productions, and Burkhart Sporting Goods.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm. Forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy, where you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the uncommon coast. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Truth is the proud home of Marquette University High School Championship football. We have a great matchup for you on Friday night as the Marquette High Hilltoppers go on the road to take on conference rival, the Oconomowoc Raccoons. The mascot is the Coons, huh? Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Friday Night Football on 1017 The Truth is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. No, I was just shocked by it. That's all. I didn't know that was their mascot. So, our mascot's supposed to be scary and intimidating. I suppose a raccoon is scary and intimidating because if I see one of those little masked bastards in an alley late at night, I'm ready to fight. And raccoons are vicious. Some of them got the rabies. You don't want the rabies. It'll mess you up bad. There was a girl who got bit by a rabid animal. I'll never forget this. She was from Fond du Lac, and she survived. Usually rabies kills you. It's not one that you recover from. When I say that girl is messed up, like it gave her cerebral palsy. And I remember them like promoting her as a medical breakthrough. She was like a normal, like 14 or 15-year-old girl. She played sports. She was a good student. And then they showed her after she went through her rabies ordeal and they released her from the hospital, like she couldn't walk. Her mouth was twisted. Like, oh, look, it's a medical miracle that she survived. She's probably thinking to herself, I'd rather be dead than this because it's very bad. So you don't want to get rabies. So maybe the Oconomowoc Raccoons, they picked the raccoon as their mascot because of the rabies. Can I get canceled for that? Rhea says I can get. I don't even know what I can get canceled for anymore. Like, what can I say? We need a new rule book. Because first, it was just the 7 dirty words that George Carlin talked about. Those were the words that you can't say. And and some of you have said those words. I don't know what it is about my show where y'all get very comfortable with the profanities and all that filth, flar, and filth, but you can't say certain words, okay? And I know what those words are, and I don't say them on the radio because they get you in trouble. They're bad words. They're naughty. I'm not going to tell you what the words are. I'm not falling into that trap because then I'd really get canceled. But what can and can't I say? Isn't this a job for a content director? Who's our content director around here these days? Like, who do I talk to? Because I need to know what can and can't I say, because if I say something about Donald Trump, then Good Karma Brands loses their FCC license. Well, that's not fair. I kind of make my living on saying stuff about Trump because there's just so much material there. What about my impression of Trump? Can I still do that? Will the president get mad at me and have his FCC chairman tell Craig Karmazin to fire me? Which, quite honestly, I'm surprised Craig hasn't already. I'm surprised. Oh, boy. Hello, Linda.
Good morning, Professor. Good morning to all the beautiful black and white people of 101.7 The Truth in Milwaukee and America. How is that, Sherwin, for intro?
Excessive.
Anyway, hey, Sherwin. I thought this was a good time to call in because you was talking about the kid that shot the other kid. I think they said something about a robbery. But I'm at the gym. I started back after 6 months. I told you I had went through the same thing. You know, the emotional eating got to my health, and I had to take a pause, reset. So this is the third day I'm back at the gym, and I'm feeling really back to myself. But on the monitor, they was talking about America dissatisfaction with the educational K-12 system, 35% satisfied. So, and they give the educational system an F with regards to the core subject. Man, I'm so upset as an educator because the reason why they're bringing this up a teacher. Her name is Weingarten, Weingarten, and she's criticizing the educational system and Trump, and she's dissatisfied. So when you brought up the subject,
wait, who is this lady? Who is the Weingartner lady again? Who is she?
She is a former teacher, and she has wrote a controversial book about the American educational system, and they're just bringing up the data.
Wasn't she the former head of the National Teachers Union?
I don't even know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just getting in and tapping in. But I just thought I'd call in because, that's my passion. And I'm just so upset, because she was saying that she agrees with Trump because I guess she's bringing out some of the disqualification of the teachers in that book. So, I'm ready to read this book. But I'm just wondering, like Al just said, will she bring out these racist teaching practices of Caucasian teachers? You know what I'm saying? Because then it just disqualifies the whole book to me if she doesn't cover everything, every aspect about teaching and our educational system, including the tax formula, outdated. So, yeah.
Maybe you should read the book and let us know, Linda, what you think about it.
Yeah. And I think that you make your living off of the daily political, social news in America, and your gift and your art adds, adds the quality and influence to that. So I wouldn't say that you make your living off of Trump.
He helps.
That's wrong.
No, I think there's a lot of people that if he says something or does something or signs a bill or signs an executive order, I think there's a lot of folks in Milwaukee that want to know how that can impact them. If Donald Trump is talking about FEMA money being released, then I do kind of make my living off of what he says and what he does because I got to respond to it, and I sometimes have to demystify and interpret it. So without him, my life would be a little more boring, a little less exciting. So I'm glad he's there, but at the same time, not glad he's there.
Listen, your artistic skills and storytelling, I wish you would come up with another Amy story to tell us. I'm just so hooked on your storytelling, art and capabilities, but no, you will find something else. That's your skill.
Gather around, children. You want a story? I got a story. What do you want to hear a story about? I got so many
Maybe you should get AI. Maybe you should get AI to help you write a children's book, Sherwin. Children's book.
No, we ain't gonna do that. No.
I also want to say that poll was a fake poll. I just have to say that.
I don't care what you think. That's your opinion. You can think whatever you want to, but that poll was accurate. It was scientific. It was authentic, it was necessary, and it provides very necessary, needed, in fact, that we're lacking in this world. So you can go ahead and have your opinion. That's fine. But the poll was needed, and the poll was as accurate as anything we've ever seen.
I think you're right. What we are lacking is to positively uplift one another. And, yes, I think that the most thing that is attractive about Sharon is those gray bear eyes.
Hold on, Linda. You need to keep it in your pants now. You guys don't understand how hard it is to just be a sex symbol. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. Don't shake your head at me, Rhea. You don't want this life. Everywhere you go to be desired. People falling at your feet. Throngs of women chasing me down the street. I can't run fast. You guys don't. You think it's sweet till it happens to you. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We broadcast on 101.7 on your FM dial in the Milwaukee area. I think we're on AM too, 1510 AM if I'm not mistaken. You can download the free 101.7 The Truth app from the Google store and wherever you iPhone people get your stuff from. We're on YouTube. Go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 101.7 The Truth and hit subscribe, and you'll be able to see with your own eyes exactly what we were talking about in that scientific poll. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Celebrate the reigning queens of disco with Disco Divas, running at the Bradley Symphony Center September 26th through the 28th. Principal Pops conductor Byron Stripling will lead the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and an all-star trio of vocalists in all of your favorite hits from the disco era. Think Donna Summer, Patti LaBelle, Diana Ross, and Chaka Khan, as well as the Bee Gees, Earth, Wind & Fire, and even Michael Jackson. Those silky high strings and thumping bass lines will never sound better as you dance and sing along in your seat to tunes like I Will Survive, We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and more. So what are you waiting for? Get those sequins out of storage and call the box office now at 414-291-7605 for Disco Divas or visit mso.org.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
Juneteenth signifies the occasion in 1865 when the final enslaved blacks in Texas were notified of their liberation 2.5 years subsequent to the Emancipation Proclamation. The moment when 100% of victims of slavery finally recognized their liberation indicated the principles of the U.S. Constitution came to be universally applicable. This represents a success for Black Americans and a subsequent and significant point in American history, highlighting the nation's alleged dedication to liberty and justice for all. The recent verdict in the murder of Sade Robinson serves as a reminder of the enduring evils and oppression we still face. Despite independence, numerous blacks still encounter exploitation, and they are masquerading as freedom. Commemorating Juneteenth compels us all to acknowledge these realities and compel the nation's past and promote a truthful national narrative. Juneteenth, along with the murder conviction of the disgusting individual who killed Miss Robinson, serves not merely as a celebration, but also as a summons to action. Remember this history in your daily discussions and interactions. If Juneteenth caused the conflation of liberty and justice for Black America, I say one death represented by the murder of Miss Robinson is a denial of liberty and an injustice to all of Black America.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Rhea, I don't know if I'm okay. So, Curly Q in the YouTube chat said that she Googled the Oconomowoc High School mascot, and in 2016, they changed his name to Randy the Raccoon from Cooney. That's racist, right? It has to be. Because Oconomowoc is not very diverse. I mean, there's probably a couple of us out there. I mean, there's a couple of us everywhere. But wouldn't we find that a little bit objectionable? Like, oh, where'd you go to school? I went to Brown Deer. What was your mascot? The Brown Deer Jigaboos. Oh, and tonight we got a great matchup. The Coons and the Jigaboos. I mean, it would be very athletic. You know what I mean? It would be very high scoring. What is happening? Lady BA3 says, you do the best Obama and Dr. Ken impressions ever. Dr. Ken doesn't like when I do it. He gets mad. He doesn't find it flattering. Dr. Ken is probably like Trump. Dr. Ken might try and have me fired for mocking him. My Tory Lowe impression is powerful. Tory doesn't find humor in it either, believe it or not. Like, I did his impression in front of him before, kept a straight face. He didn't smile. Kyle Wallace does a great impression of me. It's almost too good. In fact, it was so good. Maybe that's what it is. When you do an impression of somebody and it's good, the person you're imitating gets mad, because Kyle was doing my impression. I told him to stop because he had me down pat. There was something else that somebody said in the chat. I typed it, Mr. Mahdi, but I'm not going to say it on air. He says that he has a family of raccoons in his yard. He's like, oh, they never attack me. It's probably because they think y'all are related. I don't know why. Locked and Lovely says, yep, Sherwin, it's your blessing and your curse. The most attractive thing about Sherwin is not his eyes. It's the way he twerks. Rhea, you going to let them talk to me like this? Are you going to let these people hurt me this way? Talking about...
You did the deed.
The most attractive thing about me is the way I shake that thing. I don't even really have a lot of butt. I just have a little bit of... Another major owner of NBC affiliate stations, Nexstar Communications Group, announced it would also pull Jimmy Kimmel's show starting on Wednesday. Kimmel's comments about Kirk's death are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, said Andrew Alford, president of Nexstar's broadcasting division. Nexstar operates 23 affiliate stations. So here's what I believe that they are doing. They're weaponizing Charlie Kirk's death, and anyone who, in the regular course of American business and using their First Amendment right of freedom of speech to talk about it, to discuss it. Maybe there's conspiracy theories about it. Maybe it was overtly political. Whatever the case may be, Americans engage in this kind of discourse all the time, and it is protected speech, and there have been dozens, if not hundreds, of Supreme Court cases that justify an American's opinion on a subject matter, especially something that has to do with the public. But the Trump administration is trying to weaponize that and use the weaponization of Charlie Kirk's death to go after Donald Trump's political enemies, because he said this campaign was about retribution. I thought he was kidding. He was not. We should have taken a clue from him when he talked about locking up Hillary Clinton. Now, did he lock her up? No, but I think he was testing the waters. He does a lot of water testing. He says things to see what the reaction is. And if the reaction is, oh, let's just dismiss him, let's not take him serious, at some point, the things that we dismiss and thought he would never do, he is actually doing. The worst part about all of this, and it will get worse, remember, we're only in year one of the presidency. Nothing is stopping him. We can't even get... What could we even do? Boycott his products? Boycott television networks that show Donald Trump's speeches? I don't even know what the American people can do. And the midterm election of 2026 is too far away, because the amount of damage he can do with the stroke of a pen, or with a press conference, or with hiring somebody, or having Robert Kennedy fire people at the CDC or the National Institutes of Health. What he can do in a moment's notice can do so much long-lasting damage that having to wait until November is too long. November of next year. It's not even November of this year yet. There have been a number of protests, lots of them, thousands. I think there have been more organized protests of Donald Trump and the way he's handling the immigration crisis. There's been a couple of thousand of them. They're not working. And I don't want to lead us to a dark path, but the path that we are on is not sustainable. When comedians are being targeted, and then Donald Trump said there's two more to go, Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon. Oh, I bet you within the next 2 or 3 weeks, one or both of those men will be gone, especially if either of the networks that carry, I think they're both on NBC. If NBC is working on a merger or something that needs to be approved through the federal government or through the FCC, and if they have a condition that says get rid of all of the editorial commentary or anybody on your network to say anything bad about Donald Trump, or your merger will not go through, or we'll pull your broadcast license altogether, because who is going to stop Donald Trump from doing that? Melania is not going to stop him. Whatever happened to his daughter? I get the daughter's name mixed up with his ex-wife, Ivanka, because she used to be in the White House in the first term, and she actually provided some sensibility. In fact, she and Jared Kushner, who's now a tool of the Saudis, but she wanted to get paid family leave. She was working on that. Did she get it accomplished? She didn't, but she is gone. And then you know what's another Trump daughter? Did you know that? She can't stand him. Tiffany Trump. There's a Tiffany Trump. She doesn't have nothing to do with him. She can't stand him. You only see a couple. You got to Google Tiffany Trump. She's embarrassed by her father. I didn't even know she existed. And then you got Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Eric and Don Jr. We interviewed one of them dudes when we were at the RNC, and then we played. I didn't like it, but what can I do? I'm just a lowly host. We played clips. We put it into a promo of us. It wasn't us. It was Denise interviewing Don Jr. So if you were unfamiliar with 1017 The Truth, you just happened to turn us on, and you heard that promo of Don Jr. on this radio station, you would think that we were a bunch of Republican conservative people, which we are not. Rhea, you haven't turned on us, have you? You still a Democrat? You still, all right. Just making sure. I didn't let you answer. Okay, thank you. You're a voter, right? You vote. Okay, we're going to need you to vote next year in the elections, because I'll vote for any Democrat at this point. I wish I could go vote today. Alan called in earlier. He wants to recall Andrea Pratt, Alderwoman of the 1st District. He filed papers to do so because Alan, who has been calling my radio shows since I was at WNOV, is, and he's a Trump supporter, and he makes no bones about that. He's an unusual fella because he lives on the north side of the city of Milwaukee. He has a black wife. I think they adopted black children. He's also very much an ex-con that did time in prison. He's shared all this stuff on the air, but he wants to recall Andrea Pratt because of the actions of the previous alderperson, which was Ashanti Hamilton. But Allen filed recall papers because Andrea Pratt, when she came into office, knew about what Ashanti Hamilton did when he was alder, and because she knew about it, he, Allen, wants to recall Andrea Pratt, who is an African-American woman on the Common Council representing the 1st District. And his motivation, you can replay the call. If you go to YouTube, you can rewind and you can replay it. He said because white developers are not respecting his black neighbors, so he's going to recall the black alderwoman. So there's that. Always interesting stuff. I don't want to talk about, I'm avoiding the story here, the 11-year-old that was shot and killed on the northwest side, shot by a 13-year-old. I don't even know where to go with that. I don't even know what to do. What do you do with a 13-year-old that's a murderer? Right? This kid's to be in 7th grade. What do you argue about? Why is a 13-year-old robbing an 11-year-old? How does a 13-year-old get a gun? How does a 13-year-old get ammunition? How does a 13-year-old know how to shoot it accurately? I have far more questions, and I have too many questions to even delve into that, because at some point, someone is going to hear me talk about this story if I go into greater detail and make some kind of grandiose judgment of African-American kids on the north side. I just can't have that. I'd rather this be one of those situations that we liken to a horrible tragedy, just like a school shooting, that we don't have an immediate answer for. And getting rid of all the guns is not going to do it, because that is not something that's even remotely conceivable. The only person that can get rid of guns in this country, quite honestly, is Donald Trump. Because if he told the Republican Party to go and seize all the guns, they'd do it. That's the only thing left for him to go after that we have a major problem with, right? He's going after speech and he's winning. Go after guns, because he could. All right, I'm going to take a break, come back. We'll talk to Jackie on the other side. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments. Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
It's 101.7 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. When a customer chooses Pella, one of the most important things to them is honoring that trust and commitment. A lot of customers might have apprehensions about inviting someone out to their home. But when you see the experience and professionalism, you can trust them with bringing your project to life. Their vision is to be the company that people want to do business with. Watching them work from idea to installation gives you the ability to see firsthand the care taken to ensure the Pella experience is complete. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Order by the end of the month and get 0% interest for up to 5 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 9/30/2025.
Crispy chicken tenders are now at Cousin Subs. Enjoy them with your favorite dipping sauce, or try them in one of our 2 new subs, Classic Crispy Chicken or Bold Buffalo Ranch Crispy Chicken. Both served on our fresh baked bread, made with quality you can taste. But hurry, these crispy favorites are only here for a limited time. Order in store, online, or on the app today. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are much closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Fall in Milwaukee, where the air is crisp, the drinks are cold, and the good times are just heating up. Stroll Milwaukee's lakefront and explore its parks as they burst into a kaleidoscope of golds, ambers, and reds. Raise a glass at a beer garden that feels like a neighborhood block party, Milwaukee style. And just as the temps fall, Brewers baseball is turning up the heat. October dreams are made right here. This season, every color, every cheer, every sip, it all comes together in Milwaukee. Craft your perfect getaway at visitmilwaukee.org.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Uptown Yanni says, what's the first thing? The only thing he played about was that wall. Well, that and no tax on overtime. He lied about that. So you can. So he said they weren't going to tax overtime. Half true. So if you work overtime, and some of you do, I don't, for the record, you can write off your federal overtime taxes, but you are still taxed. You still have a FICA tax. So your Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid is still taxed. And if you live in Wisconsin or any other state that has a state income tax, they're going to tax your overtime. You can write off your federal income overtime tax, but you're still taxed 2 other ways. So guess what? Your paycheck is going to be probably exactly the same. Let's talk to Joyce. Hello, Joyce. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Sherwin, and I'm happy because I'm able to listen to you on the live show. My hours are so difficult, but I always listen at midnight, 9 to midnight. And I'm calling today to tell you some of the things you said many, many years ago. And you said, I might not tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to know. And that is still today. You're still doing the same thing, although I think it get a little risky sometime for you. But I think it's a good slogan for you. It fits you very well. And the second thing is your impersonation of Donald Trump. You do that one very well. I've listened to many of them that you has done, but this one is outstanding.
Thank you.
So that is my 2 comments. And hopefully you move on, and I think you've left politics. You know, we will never get involved in that. But whenever you decide to, I'll give you a donation and vote for you and get some voters for you. So take care.
Thank you.
And have a great. And I'm happy to know you're doing well from your sickness. And you take care.
Thank you,
Keep
Joyce.
up the good. Tell us what we need to know.
I sure will. Appreciate your call.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
That was a nice call. Joyce is like, I stay up listening from 9 till 12. That's nice of her. The slogan was, it may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. That was from my original either show open or intro at WNOV going back to like 2012. Joyce also said that if I decide to run for office, she's going to get some people to vote for me and give me a donation. Ain't no way. And I never say never. Run for what office? Mayor, everybody running for governor. Guess I could do that. One lady, Francesca Hong, she just announced that she was running for governor. She's a woman. She's from Madison. She represents the city of Madison in the Wisconsin State Assembly. And she also she's a chef, too. So she moonlights from being a legislator during the day and a chef by night. And she made her campaign announcement, and it made a lot of controversy. She got a lot of headlines, and she got way more publicity than, say, Kelda Roys, because Kelda Roys is a Wisconsin state senator also representing Madison, who announced her campaign. Kelda didn't get nearly as much statewide media coverage as Francesca Hong, because Francesca Hong used a bad word in her campaign announcement, and people are all shocked by that. She's talking about the system being rigged and people have to work really, really hard to make ends meet. And she's like, oh, people are saying that we can't fix the system. She said, BS! We can fix the system. And then she made a lot of headlines because she used BS on her campaign announcement. So I don't know how that's going to fare for her on the campaign trail. In the years that I have worked for political leaders and campaigns and everything else under the sun political, there is something about being from Madison and the political sentiments of the city of Madison and or the greater Dane County area that is so incredibly unique that it does not resonate with other parts of the state. So Madison is a particular kind of place. You got to keep in mind its economy is recession-proof. When you have the flagship university in a city of, 90,000 people, and you have the state government, the seat of state government, all the associated industries that feed into state government, all of the lobbyists, all of the consultants, all the bars, all the restaurants that cater to people that are going to Madison on government business, not to mention the Big Ten football team and all of the people and all of the money and all that they spend when they come to Madison, all the hotel taxes. Madison exists as a very unique place, and they are detached from the rest of the state. So the political ideas that a Madisonian will come up with makes a lot of sense for someone who lives in a recession-proof city where you have a university, where you have a Big Ten football team, and you literally have the seat of state government and all the other associated business endeavors and entrepreneurship that exists because of state government. That's billions of dollars of economic activity. Madison candidates do not do a good job of creating policy platforms that can get them voted in statewide. Tony Evers was not from Madison. Scott Walker was not from Madison. I don't know where the hell Jim Doyle was from, but it probably wasn't Madison. Tom Barrett ran for governor 74 times. He's not from Madison. He also didn't win. But the number of legislators that represent different parts of Madison, either in the Assembly or the Senate, that are announcing their campaigns for governor, and I think it's great because they're going to bring up issues that probably should be discussed. They're probably going to have some ideas of how we move Wisconsin forward with new policies and blah, 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 and all that other stuff. But here's what I think it really does. I think it makes a lane for David Crowley because Francesca Hong is a Democratic socialist. And I don't know if that political party platform translates to someone who lives in Manitowoc or is an Oconomowoc Raccoon. I don't know if it translates to someone who maybe lives in La Crosse or Vilas County or Marathon County. I'm not really sure about that. But I think with all of these other folks that are coming into the Wisconsin governor's race, I think that David Crowley's moderate political lane will become one that will make sense to the plurality of voters here in the state. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this
Congratulations.
money.